This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy Friday, everybody. Buckle up for a huge edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily, heading into one of the more epic sports weekends that you will have maybe in your life. We got Game 6 of the World Series tonight. A potential 7th and deciding game tomorrow if the Jays can't find a way to beat Yamamoto tonight, who has been absolutely brilliant in his playoff starts so far. And how about this tomorrow afternoon for Winnipeg sports fans? 1 p.m. kickoff in Montreal, Bombers and Alouettes in the Eastern semifinal. And then, as Connor Rabchak pointed out last night on Twitter, who had the Penguins and Jets playing on November 2nd at 2 p.m. in an annual Pride game as the number 1 and 2 teams in the National Hockey League? Now, the Jets do have some company with some other teams that are at 8 and 3. But after their big win last night against the Chicago Blackhawks, that is where they sit through 11 games of the regular season. Now, you see it. I don't know what their tiebreakers are, but the bottom line is NHL standings. Pittsburgh, number 1 in the league, 8-2-2. And number 2, the Winnipeg Jets. Other teams at 8 and 3 also are the Jersey Devils, the Utah Mammoth, and the Detroit Red Wings, who had a wild one last night. I don't know if you caught the late one, Reem, but
I did.
Detroit, LA. It was a wild one. Fun night of hockey last night. So listen, we are loaded. Hammer's going to join us. We'll set up Bombers Alouettes in the CFL playoffs. Murat will join us. We'll get into just the brilliance and dominance of the Winnipeg Jets top line, his thoughts on yesterday's game, and a look ahead to tomorrow afternoon with that 2 p.m. game. We'll have Hacksaw with the NFL Notebook. He'll want to talk Major League Baseball and the World Series as well. And just before we do our marble race, the Coolbet Cowboy, Pat Gregoire, is going to join us just before he jumps on the GO train to head down. He and Jake will be in the building tonight, cranking out a bunch of content and hopefully being there to see their beloved Blue Jays win the World Series tonight. So going to be a real fun show. Great to have you all with us. Do want to thank our sponsors that make the show happen each and every day. Of course, our partners at Coolbet, the gang at Princess Auto, the Winnipeg Jets, 2 p.m. game tomorrow. HSC Millionaire Lottery, Rollies Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center and Canadian Club, Chud's Power Sports. I will have the NFL Power Poll heading into the week. Big win for the Ravens last night. Manitoba Battery, Clean Line. A change to the Clean Line lines coming out of practice, which we'll talk about coming in a minute for the Winnipeg Jets. Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug. We'll get to a why not question of the day for Not AutoCorp at Waverly and McGillivray. And, of course, fan feedback from all of you for fansfirst.ca. Michael Remis, what a weekend we have on tap if you are a sports fan. The excitement from coast to coast for the Blue Jays in the World Series, Bombers playoffs, big game hosting Sidney Crosby and the Penguins tomorrow, and then a pretty darn good NFL tilt. Chiefs at Bills on Sunday. The card is loaded for the next few days.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy afternoon tomorrow managing the Winnipeg Jets and Blue Bombers playing at the same time, the Blue Bombers in the playoff game. And tonight, as you said, juggling Halloween trick-or-treating and Game 6 of the World Series. We actually have some afternoon Halloween hockey. Vegas, I don't know if this is a regular thing where Vegas plays Halloween at 3 p.m.
Oh, it's Nevada Day.
What's that? They have a Halloween in Vegas?
It's just on the last Friday in October. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not because it's Halloween. Well, if you recall last year, I was down for the Chiefs Raider game, and I went on the Thursday. And remember, I went to that afternoon game with the Sens.
Yes.
And I was at the game, and I'm like, why the hell, Gary, are you guys having an afternoon game on a Friday at like 1:00? Well, it was because it's Nevada Day, and they did. I learned a lot about the state of Nevada at the game, actually. A lot of interesting game presentation stuff that they rolled out. But yeah, they've got a game this afternoon, but that is unrelated to Halloween. It is, in fact, Nevada Day. Hey, speaking of game presentation, I got to give Kyle and the gang at the Jets some props. That game last night, the Halloween game, I mean, in addition to it being awesome on the ice and obviously the Scheifele-Connor Vilardi line exploding, that was one of the most fun games in the arena in a long time. And I thought from a game presentation standpoint, they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Connor and I didn't get a chance to mention that on our post-game video yesterday, but I agree. It was a lot of fun. They had a Halloween-themed graphics, the music, Halloween-themed Mach 10 playing, Halloween-style music. They had, Michael Myers from the movie Halloween popping up on the Jumbotron, just staring blankly into the camera. It was really well done with all the music too, when, different intros when they came out on the ice. They're very fun. People dressed up in costume. We saw some of them.
Great costumes. Yes. How about Marge Simpson winning the best costume?
Marge Simpson.
That woman was bringing it big time. I mean, she knew the assignment. The costume was amazing. The guy, now I wasn't familiar with it. There was what was the guy? It was like a Jack Sparrow or something like that. That costume was incredible too. But there's never been more people in costume at a Jet game. They've done a couple of Halloween games. I think this year they kind of leaned into it a little bit more. And man, did the fans step up for it. It was great. And by the way, you mentioned Michael Myers showing up throughout. How about the reveal at the end of the game? For the 50-50, they brought him out, and it was Dancing Gabe.
They kept bringing on this Michael Myers shot during the game, and it kept screeching. And you're like, what is this? What's going on here? And the reveal that it was Dancing Gabe was pretty. It was a good. Climax to the story of the Michael Myers. So it was well done to the Jets game presentation. I know on the weekend it continues. Sunday is Fairy Tale Day for the Moose game, which I'm taking the family to. So I'm very excited for that. Very Halloween themed weekend.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all sorts of themes. I got to shout out to my pal Jen and her gang, a big part of the Pride organizing committee. And tomorrow's the Pride game tomorrow afternoon down at Canada Life Center. And I mean, listen, you need to have a theme to be fired up to see Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the fact that they're sitting atop the standings in the National Hockey League might be the best story in the entire league so far this year, considering what the expectations were for that team heading in. But man, I mean, a great game last night, and I see Dan Jets fan. Love Mach 10. What an awesome addition to the entertainment. Fully agree. But listen, the entertainment on the ice was pretty darn good last night as well. A 6-3 win over the Blackhawks, who had a couple moments in the third period, benefited from, 2 back-to-back games with absolutely bizarre goals going in on Connor Hellebuyck due to weird-ass bounces. Last night, Teuvo Teravainen got the easiest goal that he'll have all season on a bounce off the stanchion when Hellebuyck was going around to play the puck behind it. But to me, Remo, it's pretty hard to go anywhere other than the top line of Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Gabriel Vilardi, who were the three stars of the game, all getting 3 points. That line absolutely ran roughshod over the Blackhawks last night.
Yeah, you saw the incredible skill from that line, the passing. Gabriel Vilardi, struggled to score early in the year. Said he should have had 40 goals already playing with those two guys, and didn't have any trouble scoring goals yesterday. Scored the 2. Mark Scheifele with a beautiful feed on the first one. DeMello set him up, finding an open area, and shout out to the second power play, getting it going. Nemestikov going to the net, and the Chicago defender, I don't know if he thought he was going to go more in front of the net. He kind of peeled off to the side, was wide open, put one past Spencer Knight. And, after Burakovsky scored on Hellebuck and Chicago had a bit of a pushback, I mean, what a beautiful goal that was, going through the legs in front of the net. Kyle Connor said, hey, I can score nice goals too. And they just let him walk to the front, and you thought he had no room, but found a little opening, and that's all you need to give a guy like Kyle Connor, and put it past Spencer Knight. So nice exclamation point on the win, giving all those guys 3 points each. You got to look at the plus minus. Vilardi +3, Connor +3, Scheifele +3. Connor Rabchuk noting at our standout stat on the post game, all their goals 5 on 5 on 5. Not taking advantage on the power play. They weren't cheapies. They had to work for those. And the Jets really, I thought, showed that they were a superior team to Chicago. And those are the games you have to win. And if a team below you in the standings that's not a playoff team that's rebuilding comes into your building, the Jets do what they did all last year, kept home ice advantage. Didn't really they've been more of a road team this year, Huss. They haven't lost on the road, and the home record, was even at 3-3 coming into last night. But Scott Arniel challenged them, said, hey, you need to have better second periods, and they stood up to the challenge yesterday.
Oh, yeah, the second period was a lot better. I mean, I was talking to some of the guys, hey, it was a nice first period, but let's see them carry through. And pretty clear that message was heard loud and clear. Heard Kyle Connor speak after the game, happy with the performance from start to finish. But I have to say, Reem, speaking of Kyle Connor, on Wednesday's show, we talked about just the stone cold assassin that he was on that winner in overtime against the Wild. I didn't think he could have maybe a filthier goal this week, but I think he had one last night. The insurance goal after Chicago had scored a couple and made it 5-3. The goal that he scored to make it 6-3 was, a goal that literally only a few people on planet Earth can make. He goes in close. He's almost on the goal line, has the tiniest amount of space over Spencer Knight's shoulder, and just calmly, almost without motion, flips the puck up backhand. And I'm seeing not even to the back of the net, top corner, just underneath the crossbar. This guy just continues to drop jaws, and that was another stunning display of skill from Mr. Connor.
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. And the talk now for that line and for Mark Scheifele is, okay, is he going to be on Team Canada? Is he cementing himself as the deadline to make the team is, I think it was sometime in December. But you look at the NHL points leaders, Huss, number 2. Mark Scheifele with 18 points behind Jack Eichel. You look at goals as well. Mark Scheifele, where is Mark Scheifele? He's up there leading the league, tied for first with a number of players with 9. What a start he's having. And this Jets line, this Jets team, you thought they were going to struggle out of the gate without Sandberg, without Lowry, and without Perfetti. Carried by the goaltending, Connor Hellebuck, excellent, and that top line as well. So, they're going to head out to the road. I think they're have a bit of a tough stretch, but hey, 8-3 after 11 games, and I thought they were certainly going to struggle, missing all those guys. They've been, I don't think they've played at their best, and they'll tell you they haven't played. That was their most complete game. I think they took their foot off the gas for the last 5 minutes or so. But a nice showing and something to build on here as they, continue towards the rest of the season.
Yeah, one thing that I'm interested in, again, you mentioned, so the 2:00 game tomorrow, they then get 2 days off and travel to LA, 2 more days off, and then San Jose. 1 day off, Ducks, day off, Canucks, day off, Seattle, day off, Calgary. I do wonder if Hellebuck is going to be in net tomorrow night. I think originally, kind of thinking about the teams in the league, you might have sort of planned for Eric Comrie to be playing, but with Pittsburgh coming in as the number 1 team in the league, we know how much Connor Hellebuck likes playing and how successful he's been in the matinee games before. That'll be an interesting thing to see. Well, we'll hear from Scott Arniel in just a minute. But yeah, 6-game road trip out west. For all of you that like like Remis, that love the West Coast games, you're buckle up, because the next 6 games after tomorrow's 2 p.m. start are at either 9:30 or 9 o'clock p.m. Central, right through the Grey Cup on the 16th, and then the Jets are back at home on the 18th for their next matchup. But one more chance to see the Jets, and listen, one more chance to see Sidney Crosby. I will tell you that this guy is an absolute living legend, is not slowing down at all, but I mean, we're only going to have him come here so many more times in his career, so it is one of those ones you want to take advantage of. Hey, speaking of that game tomorrow, all day long at your local McDonald's, you can jump on the McDonald's game day deals. That's right. Only through the McDonald's app, though, and you can get the iconic Big Mac or filet of fish for just $4.49. All you need to do is load up the app tomorrow, click on offers. You'll see the game day deal. Get that Big Mac or filet of fish for $4.49 at your local McDonald's, and you'll get points on it as well by ordering through the app. Every game day, home or away at your local McDonald's, fire up the app and score a Big Mac or filet of fish for just $4.49 for the McDonald's game day deals. Let's hear from the coach, Scott Arniel, on last night's game. And he was asked what he thought about the game and if that was the 60-minute game he's been looking for from his team.
Oh. Sorry, one sec here. People are asking me stuff. Oh, jeez.
I'm asking you stuff, too.
I know. I'm trying to respond to the chat here.
Can you play Scott Arniel in the first clip?
Yeah, that was a real good game. I thought that, there's little things that happen over the course of a game. I don't know if there ever is a perfect 60, but that was one of our best of the year. Liked a lot of what we did, whether that was our coverage, whether that was our breakouts. I thought we were really good on our breakouts. They're a quick young team, and I thought we did a good job for the most part trying to stay over top of them and slow them down, and obviously we capitalized on all our chances.
It didn't look like Chicago had much going. They got a bit of a lift when that puck went off the stanchion and Carolina was able to put it in, but defensively though, was that the kind of hockey that you're looking for?
Yeah, that's more of what we need to do. It's the zone time happens, there are going to be shots from the periphery. There's going to be, situations where that, they're going to try to attack. I just thought attack to the inside. I thought we did a really good job protecting that inside, and that's when we're at our best. The gutsy ice, we don't give teams much to work with.
Reem, he was careful to say he loved the record at 7-3. But there were still some things that were concerning him, particularly the second periods. As we said before, that message was well received, and not surprised to hear Scott Arniel a lot more positive about the 60-minute effort and performance of his club last night against a Hawks team that had been a real problem for most of their recent opponents.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what we'd see from Chicago. They just, they've been playing tough in the West. They just put up 7 goals against Ottawa, but I think the Jets defensively, a different animal. Connor Hellebuck, elite in net, and the Jets kind of pushed them around, and they played their game, and it was close to a full 60, yes, but that's what you want to see. You want to see a team, again, below you in the standings, and the Jets racking up those points. It was a nice, great night at Canada Life Center. I criticized them for the performance last Thursday against Seattle. Seattle really came in and took it to them for a bit. But the Jets, it was a great night there for Halloween night, Huss. It was awesome.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, but I mean, like that game against Seattle a week ago was kind of a dud. I mean, I maybe wasn't as harsh on it as some people were, but there wasn't a lot going on. They didn't score. Night and day last night. Incredible atmosphere in the building, just with the fans and the costumes and all that. Jets scored early and got the party started, and then had that big second period, and obviously continued to pour it on. And listen, it was the entire line of Scheifele, Connor, and Gabriel Vilardi. And it was funny, Rima. What was it like last week at this time, where Gabe Vilardi was answering questions about his slow start to the year? A week later, Gabe is a point-a-game player, has 4 goals and 11 points through 11 games, and of course had 2 last night. Here's Arnie on Gabe Vilardi heating up and popping 2 last night.
Yeah, I know he was stressing pretty hard there about getting his first, and ever since, actually, he has, like I mentioned, he looks like he's skating 10 miles per hour faster, but that line was obviously outstanding. He's a goal scorer. He gets the holes, he gets the places, and he can make things happen. And those 3, the chemistry that they have, they all have kind of different things that they bring to the line. And Gabe knows what his sort of role is, and he's really starting to play it.
Is there anything you can tell us about Gustav Nyquist?
No, we'll just tweak something there in the corner, and so we're going to look at tomorrow and we'll find out.
Great question there from Connor Rabchak. People wondering what happened to Gus Bus 2.0. He was out, and here's your update from Jets practice today. Was not out there today. So the clean lines looked a little different today. Connor Scheifele, Vilardi, Nemetsnikov, Taves, Iafallo, Niederreiter, Barron, and Pearson. And the 4th line has Koepke, Ford, and Brad Lambert. I am interested if Gustav Nyquist is out, and that's the way the top 3 lines are going to look tomorrow. I do wonder whether they go to Lambert on the 4th line or whether Chibrikov is in there. I am of the opinion that maybe Chibrikov is sort of more suited to that line, but certainly Brad Lambert would love another opportunity to get back into the rink. No changes on D. Morrissey, DeMello, Stanley, Pionk, Fleury, and Shen. As I mentioned, anytime we're doing the lines, they are presented by Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, your local leader for over 40 years and the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets. Captain approved. Back to last night, and we just heard Arnie talk about Gabe Vilardi breaking the slump and now really heating up. Here's what Gabe had to say about popping 2 and doubling his season total last night.
I thought we played really well. I mean, those 2 are going to do what they do. They're unreal to play with, and that's what is expected of us. We got to keep doing that, right?
Gabe, as Mark Scheifele's line mate, is there a way that you're able to sense if he's going to pass or shoot, or do you just always have to be ready?
You always got to be ready. Yeah, he's remarkable at watching what the other, like in 2-on-1 situations, just reading off of what that defenseman's doing. So you always got to be ready.
Similarly on Connor's backhand goal there, it looks like you're making yourself an option right to the end on the post there. What was your view of that goal?
It was a nasty view, I'll tell you that. It was a pretty cool goal to see from there. I was just, like you said, I'm just trying to make a wall. If he wanted to throw it back door, maybe it hits me and goes in, but he did a nice play. That was nice.
Based on just where you are with your head height right there, have you ever had a better view of a goal like that?
Well, I mean, I told him when we were going for the start that I had an unreal view of that because it went right back bar and came out fast. So I was like, did that go in? But it was pretty nice. Yeah, it's a good goal.
Definitely some admiration from Gabe Vilardi on that last goal by Kyle Connor, which was, an absolute stunner. The entire line was on last night. No one happier than Michael Remis, who I think stacked that Jets top line and all his DraftKings lineups and won some cash last night. But here's a little bit more from Vilardi on that line last night and so far.
I thought we played really well. I mean, those 2 are going to do what they do. They're unreal to play with, and that's what is expected of us. We got to keep doing that, right?
Gabe, as Mark Scheifele's line mate, is there a way that you're able to sense if he's going to pass or shoot, or do you just always have to be ready?
You always got to be ready. Yeah, he's remarkable at watching what the other, in 2-on-1 situations, just reading off of what that defenseman's doing. So you always got to be ready.
Similarly on Connor's backhand goal there, it looks like you're making yourself an option right to the end on the.
All right, little more pieces of Gabe. I will say this, Reem. If we're doing a Chud's Power Sports Power Poll on the best interviews on the Jets, I think Vilardi has, everyone knows that I love listening to Hellebuck because he's a goalie and he's, really doesn't seemingly have no filter and says some of the more funny and outlandish things that you'll ever hear from an NHLer. But Gabe Vilardi is pushing for the number 1 spot on that list.
He's been great since he arrived in Winnipeg. He says what's on his mind, doesn't give you cliche answers, and he's not afraid to throw it back at you and ask you what you think of his play. So yeah, Gabe has been great addition to the Jets. Post media or post game media power poll for a while. So I always enjoy his thoughts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Josh Morrissey got into it as well. He scored kind of an interesting one for, I believe, his first of the year. Off the post, off Spencer Knight and in. Kind of owed Chicago a goal like that, considering the way their first one went in. Here's what Josh Morrissey had to say post-game last night.
Yeah, I think it was our best 60-minute effort. I mean, there's always things to clean up, but there's a lot to build on. There's been a lot of talk about our second periods, and I thought we did a better job in that frame. So, it's a good win, and just have to keep building.
How good was that number one line tonight? They just seemed unstoppable.
Yeah, they were unreal. I mean, obviously 3 very talented guys that all complement each other kind of uniquely and really well. And I saw it this morning. I saw Scheif and KC and Gabe. They were buzzing in morning skate, and kind of just knew that KC got that one the other night in overtime, and goal scorers like that, I feel like they get one, and you can't stop them. So it's gonna be fun to watch them here going forward. But yeah, they were unreal all night, and they've been great for us all year.
On the topic of getting one, are you going to be unstoppable now?
I hope so, I guess. It was nice to have one go in. Get rid of the goose egg, and hopefully can keep adding to the column, I guess.
All right, there's Josh Morrissey, a big part of last night's win. I thought DeMello had a really strong game as well, and he almost had one, that brilliant save, desperation save by Spencer Knight to prevent go in. So the Jets put up 6. I know there's a little confusion in the chat. 5 of the 6 goals were even strength. All of the goals from the top line were even strength. The Jets did get one power play goal that started it off just 2 minutes in. Vlad Nemetsnikov from Gustav Nyquist and Nino Niedermeyer. 3 ends in on that goal. It started off, but 5 even strength goals the rest of the way. Capped off by Kyle Connor's nasty backhand roof job to finish up the game. We'll talk more Jets coming up with Murat Ates a little bit later on. Folks, if you're looking for a great spot to get together for a party, a gathering, or just hang out and spend some time with friends, Uptown Alley is Winnipeg and Manitoba's entertainment and fun super center. They have it all. 5-pin bowling, 10-pin bowling, laser tag, and the best gaming area with amazing prizes that you'll find out in the city. But it's not just doing it. You also can kick back, enjoy some wonderful local beers and more, and amazing food at Uptown Alley, which has made it the top spot in the city to go for both birthday parties, for kids, for teens, for adults, but also corporate and group outings. They're at 1301 St. Matthews Avenue. Go to uptownalley.ca for more information on planning your event, and the Uptown Alley staff will take care of everything after that. And of course, they do have their bowl and play promo going on right now. After 9 o'clock every day, you will be able to get 90 minutes of bowling and a $10 arcade card for $20.49 per person for 5-pin and $22.49 per person for 10-pin bowling. And again, get in touch with them if you want to plan an event there. And I can tell you, you will not go wrong for spending a couple hours at Uptown Alley, the most fun place in the city to go with your friends or with a group. Folks, if you're moving, lean on our friends at Rollies to help you out and take as much of the stress out of something that is always very stressful, moving to a new home. Rollies Transfer, family owned and operated in the Peg for over 60 years, and the most trusted name in moving and storage. They're known for their incredible customer service and white glove treatment and service for all of their customers. Check out their site at rollies.com. Click on Request an Estimate. Throw in the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies. Let them know when and where you're moving and what needs to go, and the friendly staff at Rollies will get you a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment that you're expecting on moving day, as they've been doing for Manitobans now into their 7th decade. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies. Find out more, request an estimate today over at rollies.com. Well, it's Friday afternoon. I know our friends at St. Vital Dental Center are going to be paying close attention to the marbles festivities. I know Dr. Terry's going to be locked in on this game. I don't know. It might be the wife that's taking the kids out this year for Halloween. Terry can watch the game and hand out candy. Big Jays fan, great friend of the program, great sponsor of ours. And listen, they've been taking care of Winnipeggers and Manitobans for generations at St. Vital Dental Center. Now with a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's with state-of-the-art equipment and convenient free parking right behind the building. They do it all for clients from 6 months to 99 plus, checkups, cleanings, all the way to dental implants. St. Vital Dental Center has you covered for you and your family. Give them a holler or go online to stvitaldental.ca. Make an appointment and tell Dr. Terry that the boys at WST sent you. And listen, just before we bring on Jeff Hamilton and talk a little Bombers before their playoff game, don't forget, gang, in time for the holidays and Grey Cup, limited amounts of stock remain of the Winnipeg Blue Bomber limited edition Canadian Club Bomber label bottle. The great taste of Canada's original Canadian whiskey, the iconic Canadian club since 1858, teaming up with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Of course, Canadian Club is the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and will be consumed in great quantities in all likelihood at the 112th Grey Cup in a couple of weeks. But right now, for that Bomber fan and whiskey lover on your Christmas list, get it for it's gone. And would look quite good for some Grey Cup party and entertaining when we welcome CFL fans from around the country to Winnipeg coming up next week. Canadian Club, check out the display at your local Manitoba liquor marts, and before it's gone, grab that special edition Blue Bomber label bottle. All right, let's bring in noted journalist, co-host of CFL 110, Poker Shark, and many other things. Jeff Hamilton joins us for a little Friday afternoon chat heading into an absolutely bananas weekend of sports. What's going on, dude? How are you?
Yeah, I think like you, Huss, just bracing for what's going to be a wild weekend of sports. I think the weather is going to match it. A little bit of doom and gloom, cloudy as we edge closer into fall. But yeah, man, really excited for the weekend. Really excited about tonight, obviously, and seeing if the Blue Jays can cap off this magical run.
I mean, all I can think about, we're going to talk to Pat. He's going to be at the game. He and Jake will be there. I'm so jealous. The scenes in Halloween is already bananas. It's crazier on a Friday night. And what the potential scenes in downtown Toronto tonight, and I would say, frankly, maybe around the country in a lot of places, if the Jays can get this job done tonight, could create an unprecedented circus of debauchery north of the border.
This series has been such an emotional roller coaster. I've been tuned right in to what's been going on in Toronto, right? Listening to the radio shows, the pre-games, the post-games, the call-in shows and whatever. And what started, Huss, as a just happy to kind of be here vibe, right? Like I think a lot of people was like getting to the World Series was this massive achievement, and no doubt it is, right? You win the AL pennant like they do, and you get something out of it. But it's since shifted to whoa, we're not just happy to be here. And I'm not talking about the Blue Jays. I'm talking about the community, the city, like you say, the shows, the guys, the men and women who have been following this team through all of this magical run, right? Have now shifted. Oh, no, we're not just happy to be here. We belong here. And now, Huss, as they're on the brink of potentially wrapping this thing up, 2 games, both of which are in Toronto, the vibe feels like they've won it already. So it's gone to like happy to be here to, on the brink of doing something incredibly special and for the first time, obviously, in more than 3 decades. So I think to your point, while there's a lot of sports going on, I think tonight and potentially tomorrow night is going to have a lot of people nervous, not just in Toronto, but scattered all over Canada and really across, wherever those Canadians are in the world.
You know what I've really enjoyed over the course of the series is watching how so many of the talking heads south of the border in American media completely wrote the Blue Jays off at the beginning hell, after they beat the Yankees, after they beat Seattle, thinking that this was going to be a sweep, maybe they'd be lucky enough to get one game, and how that narrative has literally done a 180. I mean, if you've watched what people have been having to say about this team coming out of game 4 and 5, I mean, it's been a complete reversal where people saying, well, the reason why the Jays are winning the series is because they've been the better team. And the way they pick themselves up off the mat, it's kind of incredible when you look at what that 18-inning game on Monday did to the series. Like, the Dodgers were the ones that won the game. The Jays were the ones that felt, hey, it's one game. They got to win 4. Turn the music back on. Let's move forward. And the Dodger offense, a lot of credit goes to the Blue Jay pitching, has really sort of evaporated in these last couple games. And listen, there's a ton of pressure on the Dodgers. They get all the money. They're the all-star team. They are expected to win. And I don't think anyone in that locker room thought that they'd be in a situation they'd be getting on a plane back to Toronto facing elimination tonight, albeit with their ace Yamamoto on the hill, who was absolutely brilliant in game 2 on Saturday.
For a complete game, right? But, like you say, inside the locker room, Huss, I think everyone inside the locker room believed they could do this. I think this team, much like a lot of great teams in the past, they bring, adversity brings out the best in them. And to your point about the 18-inning game earlier this series, the Dodgers won that game, but the Blue Jays could look at that and look at some questionable, decision-making by John Schneider, who hasn't done a lot of bad decision-making, right? Knows his team, but really decimated their batting order. And it felt like, anyone who watched that game, I don't know about you, Huss, but it felt like they were just kind of, as the game got further, it just felt less and less likely that the Blue Jays were going to get it done. But then again, they rally for this. But the narrative coming into this series, if you looked at what the Dodgers had done in the playoffs and what the Jays had done in the playoffs, both were incredible, but for very different reasons. The incredible part for the Jays was, oh my goodness, can you believe it? They beat the Yankees, right? It was like they beat the Yankees, and you had Vladdy having those, that great moment, obviously, on TV about beating the Yankees. And it was like they slayed the dragon. That was the first round. They go down 0-2 against the Mariners and come back and win in a game 7. So it was like it took them to the bitter end to get to the World Series. Meanwhile, you had the LA Dodgers, who are the highest paid team in Major League Baseball, making a mockery of the playoffs, just absolutely tuning through teams. Like the Brewers, 4 runs against them in total that
and they
series?
were the best team in the majors this year.
And that's what I'm saying. So, of course, the narrative was going to be, this is going to be a cakewalk. O'Shea Ohtani, right? The hundreds million dollar man contract who turned down the Blue Jays. Like, this guy was, again, making baseball look easy, making the hardest things in professional sports look very easy. So, of course, the narrative and the feelings were going to be that the Dodgers were going to make light work of the feel-good story Blue Jays. But here we are, and it's completely flipped. And I wonder here, you mentioned Yamamoto, I think, is obviously a major factor in this for the Dodgers and getting and pushing to game 7 here. But they have that feeling, they have that confidence, they have that belief. The Jays look great. That's the part that's awesome about this. No part of this series, even compared to previous rounds, looks lucky for Toronto. And that's what I think is really incredible as they head back here to Toronto to take it in.
Funny comment from Stonewall Dave. Watching Dodgers debate, the LA Times baseball podcast has been delicious viewing. 2 of them fully assumed the Dodgers would sweep and the Jays were a collection of scrubs. And Bill Plaschke, he was a longtime writer and columnist. He's been was around the horn. He was the worst. He didn't even know any of the players on the Jays and just had completely written them off. And they're now staring down a potential 6-game loss if the Jays can get it done tonight. We'll talk about it with Hacksaw a little bit later on, but
you gotta love too, though. It's kind of like Four Nations a bit, even on, I don't want to say on steroids, because we know how politically intense it was for Four Nations, particularly around what Donald Trump was doing in the U.S. at that exact moment. But there's still that American Canadian, which, it just, I love that element of it. It's not about hating our neighbors to the south, but there is that pride with Toronto being from Canada, and Canada, winning the World Series, right? An American tradition baseball is. And so, I love that element of it. And I love that the fans, not just in Toronto, but especially in Toronto, but also across the country, have gotten behind this team and really, whether they've been fans since October or fans forever, whatever, join the bandwagon.
Yeah. And listen, it's a fun, Canada-USA rivalry is great. I'm glad that we're not where we were at the Four Nations with, the 51st state bullshit and all that stuff that we were dealing with.
Sure.
But now, it's two great teams, but there's a lot of people, especially south of the border, that didn't realize what this team was about, and they just continue to show it game after game after game.
Even the ones that were positive about the Jays felt like they were just, it was almost like it was charity, right? Like it was like almost charity, so that they didn't sound like they were dummies in the rare chance that the Jays
I'll be the
actually
first
did
one to
push it.
admit, and Raymond and I talked about this yesterday. I think Sportsnet, they're like, listen, we've given them a lot of heat over the years for some of the things to do with hockey and whatnot. Their production of this Blue Jays playoff run has been absolutely 5-star. But at the start of the series, they, much like I would be talking and will be in a moment about the Bombers or the Chiefs, everything was about how the Jays can do it, and it was a really optimistic look. And I think some people, even myself, going, guys, this is the Los Angeles Dodgers that they're about to play, and the Jays have been proving them right all along. So bring it on tonight. T. Conapoli with the super chat. Even a Yami breaks down. Jays take the hardware tonight. It's a rock lobster kind of night. T. Conapoli. Hey, just while we see that super chat from T. Conapoli, I want to thank Paulie, number one, as well as I think Dan Jets fan and Derek Schmidt and anyone that dropped in a super chat for the spinal cord injury yesterday after the horrible news about the young Sisler player that passed away. We were able to, as I said, we were matching T. Conapoli's donation, so we ended up getting $300 into that GoFundMe just on behalf of the Winnipeg Sports Talk community. So thanks again to everyone that did that. And, if you did miss it yesterday, Remo, if you can, maybe just post that back up, because if anyone would like to make a donation in the aftermath of this tragedy, we'd love to be able to kind of point you in the right direction. But T. Conapoli, you're an all-star, man. We appreciate that. And, again, just hammer just on the local football scene before we get to the Bombers. What an absolute, tragedy. There's no other way about it. I have a couple really close friends of mine that teach at Sisler and Tech respectively, and talked to both of them last night. And, obviously it was a really, really hard day at Sisler, and they've got counseling services for kids on the team and some of the other students. But it's the same thing over at Tech right now. You can imagine what the players on that team and the young man that was involved in the collision that had happened. This is, just one of the most horrible stories we've heard in such a long time, and really hitting hard, I think, with everybody in the football community, because how important that sport is, especially for a lot of kids that are playing at Tech and a little Sisler that maybe don't have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of other things. Football has been so beneficial in so many young people's lives, and then something like this happens. It's just hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it's, worst nightmare, right? We've, especially with the ensuing death. I remember reading the story a week ago, right? It was about how tough the journey was ahead. I think it was saying paralyzed from the neck down, and that was where it was headed, and they didn't know if he would walk again. And then to obviously get this kind of news is crushing. It's interesting too. I don't know, you mentioned kind of smaller schools or whatever. I know they've tried to pick up Winnipeg, or not specifically, obviously here in Winnipeg, but high school football, get people more involved, and it's led to, to your point,
it's exploded.
It's exploded. Yeah, it's gotten more people involved, more people feeling like a team, and the thing is, there's always a massive risk, right? There's a massive risk, particularly in football, and and especially when you talk about skill levels and abilities, right? And those things. And I'm not saying, I'm not setting this up as that was the case. This was from what I've read, a completely freak accident, and whatever. And it's those kind of things. First play of the game. Like, we've seen it. I don't know the last time we've seen it in football. I could be saying correct here. We hear about these things in junior hockey, right? In Manitoba, like there's been a handful of these cases. You take the wrong hit into the boards. It really is like, a lot of these cases are, they feel fluky. They feel just random. And regardless of how it happens, it's just completely tragic. And my heart breaks for his support system and family and, the people, everybody who's affected by it. I think there's a lot of people thinking about it for sure in this city, in this province.
Yeah, if you do want to help out, the Remis has just posted the GoFundMe link in the chat, and thanks again to everyone that stepped up yesterday, led by our guy T. Kona Pauly. Let's move on if we can. Tomorrow, Bombers season on the line in Montreal. It's been an up and down year. The offense has looked good occasionally. It's looked pretty ugly at other times. They're going to need to be their best if they want to hang with the Montreal Alouettes. What are your thoughts on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers hitting the road to try to be the first crossover team to make it to the Grey Cup? But first things first, beating the team that most people believe is the Beast of the East in Montreal.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to look at it, Huss, and let's look at it two ways. I think you can make if you're making the argument, if you're a pessimist, right, and you're pissed off at the Bombers because they didn't finish first in the West and take their usual route to the Grey Cup. Yeah, I can see you being frustrated in this game. If you're telling all your buddies there's no chance the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to beat the Montreal Alouettes, it's probably because the Montreal Alouettes are one of, if not the best team in the CFL right now. A lot of people, we've been reading out the odds makers for futures in winning the Grey Cup, and despite being second place in the East behind Hamilton, Montreal is the favorite out of the East, right? So, so everyone knows how strong they've been since getting Davis Alexander back from injury, right? Their identical 10-8 record doesn't tell the story. They had a much, more consistent performance under their starting quarterback than the Blue Bombers have, under Zach, obviously, in this offense. And so, you're also looking at it, playing on the road, right? Montreal is not an easy place to play. They have, not only do they have a strong offense, they have a good defense. And the biggest part of their success is they're playing complementary football because they're getting that effort and execution from all three phases, right? If your offense is able to move the ball down the field and move the chains, even if you're not scoring 3 points or 7 points, but you're still holding on to that game of possession battle, you're giving your defense a better opportunity to play well. If you look at Winnipeg's success against Montreal this year, it's been against the Davis Alexander-less team, and their offense had struggled, making their what is usually a good defense kind of marginal, right? So that's if you're believing they're going to lose, right? That's what the odds makers believe. They believe the Bombers are going to lose by close to a touchdown. If you're on the optimistic side of things, Huss, you're starting to grab at things like, well, maybe this is what they need, right? They didn't win the last 3 years. They lost the Grey Cup the last 3 years, despite dominating the league. I know last year was a little bit different. Maybe this is the adversity they need, and the big difference, of course, to 2019 is what I'm referring to, when they had to go onto the road twice. I wonder how many Bomber fans forget that. It's been so many, kind of easy rides to the Grey Cup in recent years. Had to go on the road twice, and of course won. That season again in Calgary against Hamilton, right? Is this the adversity that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers need? The other part is, yes, the Bombers have not played their best football that they've been talking and wanting to do for the last few weeks heading into the Grey Cup. They are the definition of backing into the Grey Cup. Even their wins have felt like losses. Despite that, and this whole flipping a switch or whatever, Maybe the Bombers are that kind of experienced team that they know what it takes. The lights aren't going to get too big. Davis Alexander, who is a perfect 11-0 as a starter in the CFL, maybe this stage is too big for him. I'm not guessing that it is, but if you're a Bombers fan, you're hoping that it is, and that experience will work, right? And then finally, you're hoping for some consistency and some better play calling by the offense, right? You're hoping that the weather is rainy. You're hoping that it's hard. It's hard to throw the ball, therefore negating or at least limiting what is a really good receivers group. And all of a sudden, you not having potentially Nick Dembski, Dalton Schoen isn't as big of a deal, and you can lean on your, former MOP Brady Oliveira for the game, right? Like that's what you're telling your friends when you're telling them that you believe the Bombers can do it. So there's a lot at play here. You never know in this league. We're reminded of that every single weekend. I just don't think I'm as confident personally in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers than I have been in previous years in their bid to get to the Grey Cup.
In previous years, I will certainly give you that. I mean, once you do what the Bombers did for the last 5 years and just keep winning the division and making teams come to the toughest place to play in the league for a game to go to the Grey Cup. But, this is more like the route that they took in 2019, having to go against some good teams and make it through. So much of this is going to fall on the offense. Here's a quick clip from Zach Collaros. This is what QB1 believes that the offense has to do to win this game tomorrow afternoon in Montreal.
Play our game, protect the football, try to play a physical brand of football, and just execute, be consistent, try to be consistent as we possibly can. Like I said, Montreal does a great job of mixing up looks. So just understanding, what the fronts are, what the back end's doing, and for me, getting the ball into the hands of our playmakers. But, just trying to be as consistent as possible with our execution.
You want to be perfect every week, and obviously it's pretty impossible to do that. But just knowing how well your defense is playing right now, does that help this offense's confidence going in, even though you guys are a little banged up in some areas right now?
I think it just lends its hand to the importance of playing three-phase football and complementary football, and understanding that they are doing a great job. Now, those things can change, in a game, right? Things happen, whether it's points off of weird stuff happening out there, or they give up a touchdown. Those things might happen, right? So you got to be able to react. But there's certainly an understanding of how well they're playing, and that really puts an emphasis on us to play a clean game. I mean, you approach every game the same way, whether you're the favorite or the underdog. Like I said before, if you need that extra motivation, that's something that can motivate you. Being in that role can maybe also take the pressure off you if you're somebody who gets bogged down by that kind of stuff, right? Once that whistle blows, as I always tell you guys, you're just out there trying to execute the game plan and do the best that you can. But leading up to it, it's a different feel for sure. I don't think I've ever played a playoff game in Montreal, so it's a really exciting challenge. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So there's Zach Collaros, and Hammer, we spoke of being the underdog, but also about, kind of what this offense needs to do to win the game. And listen, I know Brady Oliveira is going to be giving it his all, and you hope that they can get that run game going. But to me, this is so much on the shoulders of Zach Collaros. First of all, there's no plan B. I mean, it's Zach or bust for the Bombers right now. I think we know that, Chris Streveler, as a backup wasn't probably an ideal option, but Terry Wilson hasn't seemed to be the guy. Chase Artorpius is not coming to save the season. And Zach, for a bit of a star-crossed season, the injuries, the comebacks, the up and down performance of the offense, you heard in those clips a guy that has been through all of this before, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Collaros actually comes up with one of his best performances of the season.
See, like that, and I think that's a fair statement. The challenge to that statement is the proof doesn't give you nearly the level of confidence where you're saying, the way you're framing it, Huss, is you could see it. Not you could guarantee it.
We
not
can't
that
expect
it's coming.
it.
You certainly can't expect it. That's what I was getting my point to. It's like maybe he can do it. Nobody would be surprised if he did it. And I think that's about as good as it feels right now for a lot of Bomber fans, right? That's about as confident as most are getting because you haven't seen it. And, I think whether you want to call it the good news, I don't I don't pin this all on Zach Collaros. I never have. Does he need to be better? Absolutely. Does his decision making in certain plays need to be better? He'd be the first one to tell you that. He usually is the first one to tell you that in his post-game press conferences. But there's been an issue with decision making. There's been why this team would stray away from a Brady Oliveira in ways that they have. This is a big moment for Jason Hogan. I think that's the other part of this. This piece, Huss, is, and people might say that's crazy talk, but, Kyle Walters doesn't have a contract after this year. Mike O'Shea doesn't have a contract after this year. What are you going to do with Jason Hogan if this is a debacle, right? So I think there's a lot of pressure on a lot of individuals here. And I'm wondering, this is the thing, as much as you can see Zach coming out there and I agree with you. A lot of this is going to fall on his shoulders because that's just the reality of the CFL and playing the most important position on the field. But yeah, you could see it because you have seen it. That offense go out there, be consistent, move the ball, put up some points, help out that defense, which has been really the heart and soul of this team. Yeah, you could see it, but more people, I think you could envision it more likely that they sputter, that they that they lose, and that's the different feeling of it all. And I'm not saying that's what Zach was referring to in his comments right there, but I've reported this, I've talked about this, I've talked to players about this. There's a different feel to this, and that different feel is things aren't just kind of falling off their back and they're just going at it with business. I feel there's a little bit less confidence in the air. Not saying they're not confident, but I don't feel as confident. But again, comes down to any given Saturday in this case. And, a lot of things are at play here. Could Trey Vavel have an amazing game and just win the game like he has in previous weeks? Can the defense come up huge? There's lots of things that we don't know and we're going to get answers to. And that's what makes really the CFL playoffs exciting. And this game especially for two teams with high expectations, only one of them is going to be able to obviously move on.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, they got their hands full with Davis Alexander, who's never lost as a starter. He's due. A defense that has helped keep them in games. I will say this. Let's just get a quick update on this weather here. Because I did see that the rain was maybe going to sort of stay off. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of rain today, but it looks like it's going to maybe be a little drier, but mainly cloudy, only 6 degrees, which,
is perfect football weather. That's perfect.
Listen, that's Bomber playoff football weather as well. But just back to Zach, I mean, there is sort of a last dance feeling like with this team all season long. Now, Zach does have a contract for next year, but I do wonder how locked into being back, just how different this team might be next year and how much that might hinge on how this team does this weekend and next, and hopefully, miraculously, one more time in the 112th Grey Cup here in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think there's more potential than any other year that we've known this regime for there to be changes and difference and, potential of it being status quo, potential of it being massively different. Like I mentioned, Kyle Walters doesn't have a contract for next season. Mike O'Shea doesn't have a contract for next season. The offense has been a disaster under first-year offensive coordinator Jason Hogan. So, you need these decisions. Are you wanting to re-up, right? And that very well could be the case. But if you bow out in the Eastern Final and don't even have a sniff here in a year that you were hosting, I think you have to, at the very least, look at it. The other part of this too, Huss, is I'm not just talking from couldn't get it done this year, couldn't get to the championship game, see you later, Mike O'Shea. Maybe Mike O'Shea has different plans. Nobody knows what his plan is. Did he plan to be here for 12 seasons, 13 seasons? I don't know. I think along the way, there's been lots of talk about him wanting to return to Ontario, not wanting to, but the potential benefits of that and having family close there and whatnot. I mean, his kids are all grown up. They've gone through the school system, so there's no more of a, I don't think there's that connection where you want to keep them with their friends or whatever. They've all, kind of moved on from that. So it much like there's different circumstances in the Bombers world, there might be different circumstances in O'Shea's world as well. So I just, things that will be dissected all Grey Cup week, whether the Bombers make it or not, because Mike won't be able to hide that week. These are all questions that are coming, but the answers very well could be different depending on the results, starting with, of course, this Saturday against the Montreal Alouettes.
Honestly, one of the most intriguing matchups we've seen in this entire O'Shea era. Don't really know what to expect, but you can see a multitude of possibilities, and we'll be tuned in tomorrow at 1 p.m. to see what happens. Hammer, as always, thanks for doing this. Looking forward to chopping it up with you on CFL 110 next week as we get ready for the East and West semifinals. And I guess the big question is, will the Bombers be part of the party, or will they just be hosts for whoever makes it to the Grey Cup? Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, my friend. I'll see you next week.
You bet. There's Jeff Hamilton at Jeff K. Hamilton on X. And, of course, you can read his work in the Winnipeg Free Press. Taylor Allen in Montreal with all of your coverage on the game tomorrow from BC. We're going to get back to the Jets in just a moment with Murat Ates. I do want to thank Princess Auto for their support of WST and, of course, the Bombers. I mean, Princess Auto is synonymous with Winnipeg, headquartered and founded right here in the Peg, and now coast to coast with 3 Manitoba locations as well, but also the home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the 112th Grey Cup, Princess Auto Stadium. Princess Auto is where you'll find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new waiting for you over at Princess Auto. Pop by and see them in store or shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. Coming up a little later on around Hacksaw's visit, I will drop this week's Chuds Power Sports WST Power Poll for the National Football League. Baltimore Ravens got a big win last night. We'll dive in. Maybe the Ravens, probably not into the top 5. Of course, it's brought to you by Chuds Power Sports, Manitoba's ultimate power sports superstore, serving the community for over 80 years. Up in Gimli at the corner of Highway 8 and 231, Chuds has the most incredible selection, the most experienced staff, not to mention parts. If you're trying to fix something, maybe in advance of snowmobile season, and some amazing deals as we finish up October with some spooky, scream-worthy savings right now on Polaris and Arctic Cat sleds before the snow creeps in. ATVs, side-by-sides, personal transportation, Argo, Suzuki Roxor, and Evolution, boats and outboards, getting those fish houses ready for ice fishing season. They have it all. Pop by, see the Terminator and the great people at Chuds Power Sports in Gimli, online at chudspowersports.com. And by the way, check out truenorthparts.ca as well for some great deals on clearance gear and accessories that you won't find anywhere else. And stay tuned for the Chuds Power Sports Power Poll a little later on. Just before we bring in Murat, got to thank our friends over at Manitoba Battery, your local option for the best in batteries at the best prices around, period. You can shop local at a locally owned business like Manitoba Battery, now with 2 Winnipeg locations, and save big money over what you're going to be charged at the big box stores. And of course, you don't have to deal with the Costco parking lot or any of that. Heck, Manitoba Battery will also deliver those batteries to you anywhere inside the perimeter of Winnipeg. But winter's just around the corner. Pop in, free battery testing. And if you need a new one for your car or truck to get ready for winter, you'll get the best price in town at Manitoba Battery. Give them a call or order online as well at manitobabattery.com. All right, let's get back to the Jets. What a show last night by 55, 81, and 13. Murat Ates joins us now. Murat, how are you? What's going on?
Hey, I'm keeping well. Good to see you. Happy Halloween.
Yes, you too. The Chicago Blackhawks got quite the fright from a line that is just on one right now. How about the performance of the Jets' #1 line last night against the Blackhawks?
Yeah, it's crazy just to see how high up the scoring charts they are. Scheifele, what is he, 2nd right now? Do I have that right? The absolute terrorizing that they did to the Chicago Blackhawks. Every time Chicago thought they got close, scored a pretty goal of their own, Well, all of a sudden you have Kyle Connor dangling through as Mark Scheifele drives the center lane, and then Gabe Vilardi is an option on the back door, just waiting just in case there's a cross-crease pass. They're clicking. They're absolutely cooking on a team with middling secondary scoring. The top guys are, even better than expected. And, you ask why they're 8-3-0 right now. Well, point at those guys as one of the big pieces.
Well, I mean, listen, those guys, the special teams unit, Connor Hellebuck, I mean, those had sort of been the key foundational pieces of the Jets start. It hadn't been consistent. They hadn't really been playing full 60-minute games. They'd been on the wrong side of the shot clock more often than not. Considering yesterday's performance, how big of a step forward was that, Murat, considering what Scott O'Neill was looking for and what he talked about despite the overtime win in Minnesota?
Yeah, it was Winnipeg's most complete game, I would say. Most moments where you would look and see them on the right side of the puck. There was no second period swoon. Those things went right. They pushed Chicago out of the building, and for all of Chicago's early season success, and they have had some success, Winnipeg made them look like the not very good yet team that I think we expect them to be. Scheifele went toe-to-toe with Bedard, and one of them was a star on the night, and the other one wasn't. And it just seemed that everything was going Winnipeg's way. And I think probably the fact that I'm talking about beating Chicago as a step forward for this team this season really points to the fact that the process hasn't been that great yet, right? Like, ordinarily, when Winnipeg's rolling, you're not looking at beating the Chicago Blackhawks and playing a good team game during it as a sizable step forward. But we are, and they did, and things do look good, and they need to keep getting better as the season goes on.
What the hell's going on with all these too many men penalties?
And last night they didn't even notice. They didn't even notice they were playing.
It was hilarious.
They're just committed to it. Okay, cool. Guys over there, guys over there. Wait, is that 6? I don't know. Arniel talking about it after the game too kind of made fun of himself and the team for it as well, just poking fun. I don't know what's going into that. Maybe it's something to do with having new bodies. That's just guessing. I think that who goes over the boards next is simultaneously more chaotic than fans sometimes realize, and something that a professional NHL team should get right more often. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Spooky stuff.
Speaking of shifts, your latest in The Athletic post the Minnesota game was takeaways after 10 games. And, one of the things that you mentioned that they hadn't been chaining shifts together like they used to. And we've seen when the Jets are at their best, particularly last season when they were, rolling all the way to a President's Trophy. You would have shift after shift of sustained pressure, puck control. That hasn't been the case so far. What's missing right now, Murat, in your mind, and how much closer to it did we see last night as opposed to when you were writing it after 10 games?
Yeah, I think some of it would be natural in any situation where you have this much turnover and there's some new guys playing key spots in key spots in the lineup, I should say. Part of it is also you take Nikolai Ehlers, who's a zone entry machine, off the team. You take Adam Lowry off of the starting lineup with his situation. He's one of their best play drivers at even strength, one of the most responsible players at even strength. And that has a ripple effect down the lineup. Dylan Samberg as well, not stopping plays in the D zone, sending the team back up ice. Everybody loses a little bit. Hockey is one of those games where everything is connected. A rising tide will float all boats. And even one extra shift in your own zone and one extra chip out off the glass, and now the other team's got the puck again, can really turn the flow of play. So I think that Winnipeg doesn't have some of the horses in terms of just leaning on teams. The other thing, beyond the horses, beyond the integrating the new guys, is to be buzzing in the offensive zone and then go off for the line change so somebody else can feast and turn this into a goal. That takes not only control of the flow of play, which Lowry's line did so well last year, or even Winnipeg's fourth line last year as well. It also takes that kind of heads-up selflessness that a Lowry type or Winnipeg's fourth line would be known for, such that you can get the Scheifele line on to score right after that. And without Lowry being able to lead that sort of two-way excellence, you not only lose the zone time, but you lose that sort of heads-up play that leads to the handoff shift as well. And I think just a few more of these would have a really big impact on Winnipeg's 5-on-5 so far.
Murat, as far as tomorrow goes, what a juicy matchup. It's always special when Sidney Crosby, an all-time great of the game, comes to town. No one expected them to be where they are right now. I mean, if you go to the NHL standings right now, this second, number 1, Pittsburgh Penguins, the Jets, number 2. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. There's a couple other teams at 8 and 3. But, for a game at the start of the year, you thought, okay, it's an early season afternoon game. It's great to see Crosby, but the Penguins will probably be down towards the bottom of the league. Pretty great way to end off this homestand. And, test yourself, and I can't wait to see what Pittsburgh's got as well. This should be a fun one tomorrow.
Absolutely. I mean, the reverence for Sid is well earned. He's still one of the best players in the entire world at this stage of his career. There's the fear as a Canadian hockey fan. Okay, when's he going to drop off? Is he still going to be elite at the Olympics? And you know what? I think Sidney Crosby is going to be an elite player at the Olympics. He's still at that level. That's wonderful. But you're also getting a bounce back season from Evgeny Malkin, which is great. He had some health issues last year, and he was relatively productive. He wasn't all the way out, but he's having a phenomenal start to the season. He's had some chemistry on a line with Anthony Mantha, and is it Justin Brazeau? I don't really know that player very well. But I think Brazeau missed practice for the Penguins today, so there's some stuff there. The key is their veterans are playing well, their young guys are engaging, and they're guys that need to prove it, like an Anthony Mantha type player at this stage of his career, are also delivering. And all of a sudden, that team has lots going for it. It's gotten good goaltending, which has been missing from that organization for a little while. It's been so inconsistent. I would never have imagined this was the number 1 team when the season began. But now, having watched a little bit of it, I wrote about some of the stuff going on for that team, and especially Malkin's resurgent year. It's kind of fun. And it's fun when Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and et cetera are still amongst the NHL's best players. If you're from the generation that we are, it's just nice to see.
Yeah, well, 2:00 puck drop tomorrow. Always special when Sid's in town, but considering you got this matchup at the top of the standings, and I would say important for the Jets to try to bank another couple points, because while you look at this road trip ahead, and they're basically going all through the West. And yes, the Sharks and maybe the Ducks are rebuilding teams. Who knows what the Kings are? The Canucks, we've already seen, Seattle and Calgary. If they're able to continue to play at this rate against teams that are below them in the standings, I think they'll smash anyone's expectations of where this team would be when they get the reinforcements back. And from all accounts, the captain could be good to go potentially as soon as the Tuesday game.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal stuff. I remember before the season started, I was talking to a friend of mine who argued, you know what? I think Winnipeg's better than they're getting credit for. I think that 8 and 3, and he said it, is like a reasonable record, because he was looking at the schedule and he was looking at all these non-playoff teams and saying, look, don't discount Winnipeg from being able to rack up some wins against those guys. And so I had to send a little bit of a text last night being like, hey, you said it. I got to give you a point on this one. And then to know that the reinforcements are coming back, and, I think it's Tuesday for Adam Lowry, but we'll see. Like, that's not official, and we'll see how he recovers as he takes more and more contact in these practices. That's a big deal. That is a really big deal. And I also think that there's a pretty good chance we see Cole Perfetti and then probably even Dylan Samberg by the end of that road trip. Like, there is a sense that this is beginning to really take shape. I know Nyquist is day to day, but the overall trend is that Winnipeg's getting its horses back as it's starting to figure out how it needs to play. And yeah, they might improve the process and still only continue to win at the rate that they're at. But if they do that, they're one of the best teams in the league.
No timeline for Nyquist from Arnie today. And as you mentioned, Lowry getting close. There was some speculation. I can't remember who said that maybe there'd be a conditioning stint or a game with the Moose. That apparently isn't on the table. And it could be as early as Tuesday for Lowry to come back, which will be nice. With the absence of Gustav Nyquist, it was Brad Lambert today on the fourth line. Tanner Pearson moved up, so Ford with Koepke and Lambert. Do you think that's the way they go tomorrow if Nyquist was out? I was kind of the thought that if there was a spot on the fourth line open, it might be more likely Chibrikov, but it was Lambert skating with them today at practice.
Yeah, I expected Arneal chose that with the intention for tomorrow, because he did confirm to us, like, I just came back from practice and like all those updates, like you said, exactly right. And he said that Nyquist won't play. So I think that is a statement that these lines are what he hopes to go with tomorrow. I also think it's about time to see Lambert again. I know Chibrikov is thought to have the more 200-foot game, all of that sort of stuff. I think he was fighting it a little bit. I think some plays were dying on his stick the last couple times he got out, and it's sort of Lambert's turn at this stage. I like what Winnipeg's done. They didn't have to keep Lambert and Chibrikov on this roster. They really didn't. I don't think that they were playing so unbelievably well that, that they seized these jobs, that Winnipeg shouldn't. Like, Winnipeg took a minor risk putting some guys on waivers that they didn't have to do. And I think that by integrating Lambert, by integrating Chibrikov, even Ford, who is a little bit further developed at this stage, a little older, they're doing themselves long-term favors, and they didn't have to do that. So whatever we get before everybody gets healthy, good on them. I hope Lambert shows well tomorrow. I think it's going to pay dividends in the longer run.
What about the goalie schedule? Eric Comrie tomorrow, do we think? Or might Hellebuck just keep on rolling? I mean, man, I thought he was good last night.
Yeah, so that's not confirmed. I think there is an expectation that Eric Comrie will play tomorrow, and I mean he's the one that spoke to media, and we were chatting with him. He was making all kinds of jokes today. It was good. I'm sure you'll have lots of clips. He wants everybody to know that he's not a Dodgers fan. That's the most important thing. So that was a fun one with Eric Comrie, and I think that there's some thought that he's going to play tomorrow. It's not official, and we'll see. But the Jets have played an awful lot of games lately. He hasn't played that many of them, and this is a long season where there are chunks of really intense stretches. They need to get Comrie going.
I imagine there's lots of World Series talk around the team right now, even when we're talking about a big game. I mean, there's some guys in there that are pretty dialed into it.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's gotten on the Jays bandwagon. Scheifele said he's on the Jays bandwagon. Scheifele said he's not a big baseball guy, but he hopped on and he wants Toronto to win. I had a quick side chat with Al Iafallo today where I informed him that I, and a little bit of Twitter, if you saw, thinks that he kind of resembles Addison Barger a little bit. Like, every once in a while, there's an expression he makes. He got a kick out of that. He's cheering for the Jays as well. So, yeah, I mean, how can you not hop on this one?
Have you been dialed into it? Have you been watching the games?
Yeah, man. Baseball is stressful. Baseball is so stressful. And I haven't, like, the last team I knew well was the 93 Blue Jays. I bet you I could name their starting order. And like, I can go around that league. And then somehow I fell off of it. So I forgot. In hockey, tension builds up, but it doesn't stay. The shift goes back and forth, one end, the other end. You have to sit with your anticipation in baseball for so long, and the tension builds and builds. And it's an entirely different experience. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they play 162 games, and more often than not during the regular season, you go out to the ballpark, you watch a few innings, you grab a beer, you grab a hot dog, and, it's sort of a fun day out, and you pay attention. These playoff games, I mean, if you are invested in it, to your point about the stress levels, I mean, it's every single pitch. We were talking to Ken. Ken said he didn't sit down in his hotel room in Minnesota between the 7th and the 18th inning on Monday night before that game. And I can hear you. I mean, at the game on Saturday night in Toronto, there were plenty of people that literally never sat down in their seat the entire game. And the tension, I mean, obviously in the Stanley Cup playoffs, there's a level of stress and tension that goes with it. But the timing of it, the getting ready for something happening, it's been such a long time. I think that a lot of people around here have been so dialed in, but it's just different when the stakes are like this and people are as invested in it as people seem to be from coast to coast.
And it's fun because in Winnipeg, you would never catch a diehard Jets fan being like, hey, Toronto's going deep in the playoffs. I'm all in on this. Like, how popular would that go over, right? But because it's the Jays and they're not robbing the gold eyes of any success. So everybody is on board. Like, I have texts from the premier talking about his love of the Blue Jays, right? Like, everybody is in on this and that's cool. It's cool to see it in the coffee shops and in social media from people I had no idea were baseball fans at all, and everybody's living and breathing by this.
Yeah, by the way, I want to throw out the why not question of the day to everybody. And this is sort of a continuance of yesterday's, but where did we all settle for Halloween plans tonight? Because I think there's a lot of people that we're going to do one thing that are like, that's a hard no. I'm dialed in for this game tonight at 7:00 p.m. Have you changed your Halloween plans? Did you tell your kids Halloween was canceled? Let us know in the chat for the why not question of the day. Just before we go, Murat, we were looking at the clean line lines earlier today. Connor Schleife, Vilardi, talked a lot about them. The Taves line. What did you make of Tanner Pearson getting the bump up with Barron and Niederreiter? I actually thought he had a good game last night. It's been sort of on and off, but so far, actually, just thoughts on Pearson's first 11 overall as a Jet.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Tanner Pearson's game a bit because there were times in preseason where I'm like, this guy does not have the foot speed to cut it. Like, I know he's got a good shot. I know he's a veteran with good experience. And he's done some really good things in the league at different times. In preseason, I was a pretty big Tanner Pearson skeptic. And I'm going to say, there have been stretches of these last several games where I'm believing a little bit more, where the pace is not holding him back. He is forechecking well. And when he can get into small area battles, he wins a lot of them. He can make smart plays with the puck, getting it to dangerous spots off the wall. So at first, I was not a believer. Now I've got an open mind about Tanner Pearson, I think. And I think that the more that he can do what he's doing on a team that's about to get a whole heck of a lot deeper, I'm beginning to think that he could make a difference in key moments and maybe even have a nice little playoff moment for himself later down the line. I'm also a big believer in Cole Koepke, so we'll see how the Jets divide up their minutes when everybody's healthy.
Koepke is a guy that a lot of people weren't really familiar with. And, I'd heard he's a really good skater, which you want to have in that spot. Noticed that he scored 10 last year for the Boston Bruins. But, until you have a guy coming out and playing and seeing you don't really know what you have in it, he looks like just a great offseason addition to this team.
Yeah, smart pickup. I love the speed. He's making use of it. He's getting the puck to dangerous spots. Not finishing. You want some finish there. That's not happening. And Scott Arniel compared him almost to like a lighter version of Gabriel Vilardi, who had a lot of chances, but it took a while for one to go in, and then he started feeling better. So he's hoping that that's what comes next for Cole Koepke. It's fun, too, if you're a Jets fan who likes this sort of thing, right? Like another sort of Hermantown area connection. He was playing on the outdoor ice with the Pionk family and Sandberg and all that sort of stuff growing up, trying to put each other into snowbanks and all that. That's another neat angle to all of this. And whether that's how they got their inside scouting job or not to get a valuable depth piece, it's just another fun connection for a Minnesota heavy group.
Back in the day, the Habs got to get all the Quebec players. It's almost like the Jets have just put a stake down in and around the Duluth area. And if you're an NHLer from this area, you're playing with us.
Yeah, 100%. Like as soon as you get out of the cities, you get to northern Minnesota and all that area, like, I don't know, are the Pionk parents or the Sandberg parents, like, is there a real advocacy group that they've started? Like, how often do they go visit Scott Sandelin and other coaches from that area? Like, I don't know, but there's a pipeline and it is working. Oh, let me tell you this, like the same summer AAA team, I think it's the Lake Superior something, had Koepke on it, had Pionk on it, had Sandberg on it all through different years and iterations. Maybe Tucker Pullman was a Lake Superior star too. Like you can go back to AAA teenage hockey and the pipeline to the Winnipeg Jets exists.
Have some fun. You can get at it at Elite Prospects. Break it all down. You go through the Lake Superior Stars, summer rosters, and see a little bit of the future and now the present of the Winnipeg Jets. Looking forward to tomorrow night, and of course, Murat will be able to told everyone, maybe that 18-inning game for fans was a good thing on Monday, because there's going to be a lot of late nights over this next couple of weeks, as all of the games are going to be 9 or 9:30 for Winnipeg Jet fans right through the Grey Cup. But tomorrow it's an early one, a matinee. It's the Pride game, 2 p.m. start. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins in town. You have a great weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I imagine you'll probably take advantage of the opportunity to follow the Jets on the road. Will you be joining us from California?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no 9 p.m. starts for me. I'm doing them at 7 p.m. the Pacific time, whatever, with some sunshine.
Boots on the ground. Hopefully you can be there, and maybe we'll give you a Jays hat to walk around if they can get it done over the next couple of days. Murat, you have a great weekend. Thanks so much for doing this, pal.
Yeah, thanks, Huss. You too.
Good stuff. There's Murat Ates. His latest at The Athletic is up. 7 takeaways on the Winnipeg Jets through 10 games. You can get that at theathletic.com. All right, Hacksaw is going to join us in a couple of minutes. I've got the NFL Power Poll coming up, but listen, we just finished up talking lines with the Winnipeg Jets. Of course, our lines are brought to you by Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical all season long. Clean Line, now 40 years in business as your local leaders and proud sponsors of the Winnipeg Jets and the official plumbing service of the Jets. As we mentioned, captain approved for all your heating, electrical, and plumbing needs, including 24-hour emergency service. Go to cleanline.ca. Cleanline has you covered, and they bring the heat. Cleanline.ca, as I mentioned, for all the information on Cleanline. BP is going to be a nut house tonight. Everywhere is going to be a nut house tonight. Halloween and Game 6 of the World Series. Are you kidding me? Listen, you can throw a costume on if you want, or throw your Jays lid on and get down to your local Boston Pizza. The game will be on all the screens. The sound will be cranked. The schooners will be cold. The pizza will be awesome. The wings will be elite. And hopefully the Jays can get the job done. I know they've got great Jays prizes they've been doing at Boston Pizzas throughout the playoffs. So if you're looking to watch the game somewhere, get together with your crew at your local BP. Don't forget, the flight club menu is in effect. The pizza flights, wing flights, chicken bite flights, and fry flights available. And you can get in on an entry for BP's grand prize trip for 2 to California to see the Jets play the Anaheim Ducks February 27th, including flights, hotel, and amazing game tickets at your local Boston Pizza. All right, we've got a Blue Jays World Series merch update from our pal Greg over at Royal. As I told you 2 days ago, all the World Series hats came in. There are just a few left. They've sold a gajillion jerseys. They've still got tons of Blue Jays jerseys, like the T-shirt jerseys, if you want something for tonight or tomorrow. But if, and I say this is if, no one's taking anything for granted, but if the Jays win the World Series, Tuesday should be the day that Royal Sports gets the delivery of all of the World Series and Champions merchandise. The order that they put in is, it's worthy of a 32-year break in between championships. We know how fired people are up. So first things first, cross your fingers, hope they win, and then get down to Royal and get first dibs on all the amazing World Series merchandise, because it can't come in fast enough. But I think the most one that's in demand will happen if they're able to win one more game. Royal Sports has it all. Your Jays Superstore, 750 Pembina Highway. And follow them on Instagram as well at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. All right, Hacksaw's locked and loaded. We will get to Hacksaw in just a minute, but first let's give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, let's head down to SoCal and welcome in the man himself, Lee Hacksaw. Hamilton, check out the website for the best 15 minutes, probably more now with how crazy this weekend is going to be. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Saw, what are people in SoCal saying about the World Series and these upstart Toronto Blue Jays who are one win away from a pretty big-time upset?
You know how hard it is to hit a fastball, curveball, and wicked stuff when both your hands are around your throat. It's pretty hard. They're in a state of shock here in Southern California, be it Dodger fan, be it Padre fan, be it baseball fan. It's fabulous to what the Blue Jays have become. I know north of the border, for probably the first time in our lifetime, all things NHL have been pushed to the back burner for a couple of days because everybody's a Jays fan. So,
the biggest winners in all of this has been the Toronto Maple Leafs because they've stunk for the first month of the season. Normally, this would be front page 5-alarm news. Nobody in the GTA is even talking about the Leafs right now, and as they say, they're benefiting from it big time. But yes, you're right. Coast to coast, it seems like every province, every fan, if they weren't a hardcore fan before, has gone on it, because really the drama of this series has been absolutely phenomenal.
You know, the TV ratings are just through the roof in Canada. The TV ratings in Japan are at an all-time high because of Ohtani, Sasaki, and Yamamoto. And the TV ratings in the U.S. are down 15% because most of the country isn't watching because they don't like the evil umpire, the Dodgers. Social media has just gone nuts. I saw a map. This is really cool. I wish I could find it. I'd cut it, paste it, and send it to you. I saw a map of the United States, and it said, who's America rooting for? And had the state of California with the Dodger logo. And all the other states had a Blue Jay logo. So it's really cool. But hats off to the Jays. What they're doing, they're playing with house money. They have no fear. Do you understand that they're hitting 284 in the playoffs, Hustler? 284. That's against the best pitching of the best teams in postseason, and they're hitting 284 with 27 bombs. Vlad is an unbelievable MVP. Randy come from great bloodlines. His dad was a phenomenal player with the Expos and the Angels. This is a different type player, but he's spectacular. He's hitting 415 in the World Series and in postseason play, but it's just not him. You know, if you go through and look at the batting statistics I just did this morning, what Clement is doing, what Luke's doing, what Barger's doing, they put the ball in play, they hit home runs, they don't strike out, and I can't remember a team as ultra aggressive at swinging as many first pitch strikes as these guys do. And obviously the surprise story with what Savage has done on the mound, they gave him the ball, what Gautzman's evolved into, the rental of Bieber. I'm stunned at how much resolute strength Hoffman and Varlin have. You know, they've called those guys in 22 times in the playoffs to come out of the bullpen. And the other factor, nobody's talked about it, they beat the crap out of Snell and Ohtani. 3 wins against the aces, the elite pitchers in the National League. So this is cool. And the Dodgers are freaked out. Dodgers have team batting average at 201. A $383 million payroll doesn't look good right now. And the bullpen's got a 4.56 ERA, which is just terrible. They're not aggressive at the plate. They've been spooked, I think, by everything that Toronto was doing offensively, and spooked, I think, by the Blue Jay pitching. And there's a lot of second guessing going on now that, you know, you got the superstar Ohtani. Why is he batting leadoff? Because he comes up to the plate more times than not with nobody on base. Put him further down the lineup. It's kind of late to be doing that. And they've got all kinds of problems. Betts isn't hitting. Freddie Freeman's not hitting. And all of a sudden, this batting order really looks old. So, I mean, it's been a stunner. I don't know if it's an all-time upset, if it ends being a Blue Jay victory parade for the series, but it's been fun. And I don't know a hell of a lot of guys aside from me that stayed up Well, I got friends in Toronto that stayed up till 3:14 a.m. on Tuesday morning to watch it. I don't know a hell of a lot of guys that
Yeah,
watched
you're
all
lucky.
18
Yeah, it was
innings.
midnight your time. Lee, I went to game 2. I came back on Monday. I got off the plane, got picked up, went straight to my local with my buddies, got there for the second inning, was thinking I'd be at home in bed by 11 o'clock. We left at 1:58 a.m. So people are definitely paying the price, and this is one of the rare times where I was envious of people in the West Coast time zone for sports watching. But just going back to that Monday Night Classic, 18 innings, why do you think the Dodgers, after winning the game, have gone so cold, and the Jays have seemingly just picked themselves up and been even better game after game after a loss that would have really set a lot of teams back that they might not be able to recover from?
Yeah, I think the resilience of Blue Jay baseball is pretty impressive. I think the other factor, the Dodgers are a much older team. And to be honest with you, Andrew, they've not hit consistently at all the second half of the season. And their bullpen has just been deplorable nonstop, with the exception of Roki Sasaki. So there's been a lot of consistency and a lot of problems there. I'll tell you how bad it was in my house. So I stayed up, I watched the whole thing because I have to write on my website. So, I mean, I was exhausted. I wake up at 5:30 every morning. So here it is, it's 12:14 a.m. the next morning, and the game has just ended. And I got to write all the stuff from my website, a column and everything. I'm doing this at freaking 12:14 a.m. on Tuesday. Anyhow, during the course of the game, I was trying not to doze off. So I was drinking Mountain Dew, and I was popping Skittles. That was great. And I finished all my work, and I crashed into bed about 1:15, and I was so hyped because I drank so much Mountain Dew and ate Skittles, I couldn't sleep. So I've been an absolute mess, but it's been fun. The playoffs have just been spectacular, and okay, I'm going to do this right now. Just truth be told, I think the correct term is full disclosure. I'd love to see the Jays win. I got so many friends in Canada, a lot of people in Toronto. I'd love to see the Jays win, but I'm in Southern California.
Well, Lee,
Okay.
this is from the game on Saturday. You can see it. Want it all.
There you go.
That is the motto of the Blue Jays right now, and I can tell you, it is going to be a nut house in the Dome tonight. When I was leaving, obviously I saw Game 2, which was the masterpiece by Yamamoto. Gosman was incredible in that game too. I mean, he mowed down 17 in a row. Yep. Yamamoto did him 1-3 better with 20 in a row, and obviously did the historic second complete game. But I said to the fellows afterwards, you know what, they're still absolutely in this series, but it just felt like they had to get 2 in LA, because the thought of, listen, first and foremost, you had to get it back to Toronto, but to get it back facing elimination going against Yamamoto, I think would have been a very, very imposing. Now that they've got the extra out, I actually like their chances more tonight than I did before. Bottom line is, the Yamamoto is pitching like a Scooble, like a Crochet right now. I mean, on top of his game. But man, there is a lot of pressure on him, and a ton of pressure on all these big money stars that have been so quiet in the last couple games. I mean, how would you describe the pressure on this Dodger team that were such heavy favorites, that were expected to win, that are now down to their last 27 outs?
Well, the media heat is unbelievable. And the fans, it's weird. When they left Dodger Stadium the other night after that beatdown, fans were booing. And it's the same group of fans who were out of their mind on Monday night or Tuesday morning when Freddie Freeman hit the 18th inning home run. But this team has just really scuffled and struggled nonstop through the whole course of the second half of the schedule. And if they don't get this done, it'll be a letdown, it'll be a disappointment. And they're going to have to be some changes. They need something different in the batting order, and they really have to fix the back end of the bullpen. They got 5 big money relievers that are on the disabled list that are not part of this. And obviously Kershaw is about to retire. But Snell regressed to being what Snell was in San Diego, which was putting guys on base, walking guys, giving up home runs. And I give credit to Ohtani because his intensity to prepare as a DH, he's in that cage every other inning when he's in a game, preparing for his next designated hitter at bat and studying the tablet and the pitcher he'll face. And then to turn around after an 18-inning game and all that work on Monday and come back on the mound, there's no doubt in my mind that on Tuesday, when he took the mound, he roared through the first couple innings on adrenaline, but boy, you could see the fatigue setting in, and your legs are the first thing to go when you're a pitcher. And you could see the ball started to get up, and some of the bite in his pitches went away in the fourth, fifth, and into that sixth inning. So the exhaustion on Ohtani really set in on Tuesday after all the accomplishments on Monday. So it's been a great series. It's what a great way to wrap this thing up.
If the Dodgers win tonight, does Glasnow go tomorrow? I heard some talk from some talking heads that they have to go to Ohtani in Game 7 on short rest.
Well, there's two theories here. Glasnow can be brilliant. He's sizzling. He could throw 3 no-hit innings, strike out 6 guys. But he also has bad innings in the middle of all those good outings in which it blows up on him. So I don't know how trustworthy he can be with Glasnow, because we have seen on a whole pile of his starts, boom, 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 all of a sudden bad inning, and they're down 3-0. You can't have that in the World Series. There's also a strain of thought. Ohtani will pitch 1 inning in an opener role. But see, that screws up the batting order. If you take him off the mound, you're losing your designated hitter. He can stay in the game as an outfielder. So this is going to be really interesting to see what the Dodgers do if there is a Game 7. Wild card in the whole thing is Kershaw. He's only pitched 1 inning. He's 37 years of age. He's still got stuff. His ERA, for the most part this season, was really, really good. Postseason record's not that great. So Kershaw could be a wild card long reliever in this game with the hope he can get a pile of guys out. But Glasnow might be the starter. Ohtani might be the 1 inning starter. Glasnow to be the second guy in, and then everybody else is on call. I don't know. They can go to Snell after throwing 116 pitches in back-to-back bad outings. Snell against the Jays has thrown 11 innings and given up 10 runs, and he's allowed 24 base runners. I don't know if we can trust Snell going forward this late in the game. So, but they got to win. I mean, Game 6 has to be what Yamamoto does, and if he's brilliant, then we're on Game 7, and God, Canada is going to lose its mind if there's a Game 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is already going to be a wild weekend. Hey, listen, we're up against it, so we don't have a ton of time, but I'd way rather talk about the World Series, to be honest, than the NFL. However, just before we go, a quick thought on the main event of the weekend: Chiefs, Bills in Buffalo, and the rest of the slate in the league.
Kansas City, Buffalo. One team is averaging 378. Your Chiefs. The other, Buffalo, is averaging 382. But Kansas City is just rolling. They've won 5 of their last 6. I tend to think the last guy that touches the football, Mahomes or Allen, is probably going to win that game. Really interesting. Indianapolis is 7-1 going into Pittsburgh. Now, here's the big issue. The Colts are just dominating everybody. Diversity offensively, just phenomenal. Pittsburgh's defense, it's hard to believe anything in Mike Tomlin's reign would give up 386 yards per game. But here's the key thing here. Look at this schedule going forward. Indianapolis has to play at Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, at Seattle, and at Houston in the next 5 weeks. This is really litmus test time for Indy, but they're really good. And then the unique game is Denver-Houston. The Broncos have won 5 in a row. Bo Nix has that offense really cooking. Nobody's talking about Denver's defense. It's got 36 sacks, hold opposing quarterbacks to 29% conversion on third downs. Houston's struggling offensively, but Houston's got a great defense. They got Bo Nix versus the Texans defense. So those are really the marquee games on the schedule. Obviously, Kansas City, Buffalo. That game should be Sunday night. That should not be an afternoon game on Sunday. But that being said, that is the marquee game.
Yeah, 3:25 kickoff in Winnipeg for that game, and CBS ain't losing that one. They're not flexing that game. It was probably their first pick of the year when they divvy up the games for the broadcasters. Enjoy the World Series tonight and potentially tomorrow. A great weekend in the National Football League. We'll look forward to talking to you as well. And gang, if you haven't already, YouTube, Hacksaw's channel, get on that. Great stuff. Tons of World Series talk. And, of course, the website, Lee. I can understand how you're not sleeping very much because of how much there is to type about at LeeHacksawHamilton.com.
No, that, and I need to stop drinking as much Mountain Dew as I'm drinking. So here's the bet. If the Blue Jays win the sucker, I'm buying you Boston pizza. And if the Dodgers somehow rally back, you're buying me 1919s. Is that a deal?
How about I'll buy you both if we can get you up here in 2 weeks for the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. That's been the number one request, and I haven't been hitting you with it, but you're an internationally traveled man. You should let us roll out the red carpet for you here in the Peg for the 112th Grey Cup.
I have no problem with that. All you need to do is send me the plane ticket, pal. And I'll find a way to get into the country.
Yeah. Rustle up the passport. have a great one, dude. Enjoy the game tonight.
Have a great sports weekend. Thanks, Hustler.
All right, good stuff. There is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, the man. All right, we haven't yet opened marbles, so just chill for a moment, and we'll let you know when it's going. Okay, it's open. So marble race is going. We're going to check in with Patty, the Coolbet cowboy, today on Halloween, as he gets ready to head out to the game. But let's get to some fan feedback for fansfirst.ca, your number one spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market. I don't even want to tell you what the Fans First ticket costs are for this Blue Jays game tonight. But I will say, if you were getting Blue Jay tickets, do it at Fans First, and you won't have the massive service fees and charges like you do at all the other spots. When you get tickets at Fans First, what you see is what you pay. Yes, lots of talk about Hacksaw's Mountain Dew abuse, as well as his official support of the Dodgers. THP Power talking about Snell. Snell said the Jays were lucky to do that against him. LOL. And Kershaw's in Toronto. Yeah, I mean, Kershaw's going with the team Comet. Absolutely. And lots of love for Lee, except for his take on the World Series. Also, while you're putting in marbles, let's get some thoughts on this Bomber game tomorrow and some predictions for the Bombers. We'll get to we'll ponder some of those, and you can get them in, and we can always go back and check the chat if you were 100% right for Bombers tomorrow. Couple things just before we bring in Pat. Don't forget, gang, you've still got time to get your tickets for the Health Sciences Center Lottery. The grand prize will change your life, and supporting the lottery helps you change and save many at Manitoba's hospital, the Health Sciences Center. How would you like this choice? One of 5 dream home packages worth over $1.5 million. Sage Creek, West St. Paul, Oak Bluff, Vancouver Island, or $1.25 million cash. You can be Manitoba's next millionaire and at the same time help out important services and acquisitions at Manitoba's hospital, the Health Sciences Center. All you need to do is go to hsemillionaire.com and get your tickets today. You can also get into the 50-50 and Extra Cash Plus. The 50-50 jackpot, or the Cash Plus is already over 1.2 million. So the winner guaranteed over 600K. And you can pop by your local Manitoba or Red River Co-op location or London Drugs if you'd like to get your tickets in person. Again, hsemillionaire.com. Let's keep on helping him sell some tickets in support of the Health Sciences Center. All right, listen, just before we bring in Patty, I do want to get you this week's NFL Power Poll. Very, very tough choices this week, and it's a bit of a shakeup. You might be surprised who actually moved up this week to the number 2 spot. But listen, the record is the record. They've been awesome all season long. The Indianapolis Colts are staying on top of the power poll at 7-1. They're in Pittsburgh this weekend as 3-point favorites. We'll touch on that in the Coolbet lines. I'm putting Philly back at 2. Now, I had them lower last week, and I know they just beat the Giants, but they are still the defending Super Bowl champions. They've got the 6-2 record. They did beat the Chiefs in week 2, albeit a different version of the Chiefs team we're seeing right now. So as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to give the Eagles the nod on the number 2 spot. I'm putting Green Bay in at 3. Green Bay wasn't in the top 5 last week, but listen, they're 6-1-1. The performance that Jordan Love had in the fourth quarter against the Steelers on the road last weekend was phenomenal. This is a really, really talented team. The record speaks for itself. While I do personally like Detroit better than Green Bay, based on where we're at right now in the season, the Packers are getting 6-1-1. The Chiefs are at 5-3. The record is obviously not what the other teams are, but I think when you look at the landscape of the league right now, they are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The power poll's not necessarily just the standings of the league. The Chiefs are that team, and they've got an opportunity to prove it in Buffalo on Sunday afternoon. And I just put in with a tie. I couldn't decide between the Patriots or the Buccaneers. Both have had great seasons. Both quarterbacks are playing at an all-pro level. Both teams are 6-2. So the Pats and the Buccaneers finish up in a tie for fifth spot, getting the honor of being on the Chud Sports Power Poll going into Week 9 in the National Football League. Of course, our Power Polls brought to you by Chud's Power Sports, Manitoba's Power Sports Superstore, chudspowersports.com. Visit them in person. Say hi to the Derminator for us and the great staff there. Corner of Highway 8 and 341 in Gimli. All right, we are going to hook up with Patty Gregoire right now, the Coolbet Cowboy, and then we will do some marbles. So exclamation mark marbles in the chat. Pat's on his way to the World Series. Let's bring him in right now as he gets ready for Game 6. All right, before Game 6, he'll be in the building. Let's check in with the Coolbet Cowboy himself, Pat Gregoire. Patty, how are you feeling? We're getting closer to first pitch tonight, and I know you and Jake and the rest of the boys are pretty fired up that you might be able to watch some history tonight at the Dome.
Yeah, right now, nerves haven't really sunk in yet, I'll be honest. It still doesn't feel real, but probably when I hop on that train, the GO train down to Toronto, and that's when things are going to really sink in, that history could be upon us here. And I've taken the positive Patty approach. I'm going to keep that inside the building, but I'm going to just remember and remind folks that baseball is a long game. You got 9 innings. There's a lot of baseball left. We saw what happened the last time Yosh was on the mound. The Jays are going to have a different approach. And let's be honest, I don't want to talk about what could happen later on, but the series is far from over. Let's not talk about parades. Let's not talk about the party. Let's worry about the task at hand, and that's closing things out Game 6 of the World Series. It's crazy to even say that out of my mouth.
Well, I am enjoying just thinking about what could be tonight, because Halloween is already one of the biggest party nights of the year. Halloween is falling on a Friday. You and I, when we walked out of Jack Astor's on the way to the game last Saturday night for Game 2, every single bar in downtown Toronto had about 100 people lined up just hoping to get a chance to get in. I think it's going to be multiplied 2 or 3-fold tonight.
Oh
my God, if you guys see a win, the circus scene that will be in and around downtown Toronto will be something for the ages. As I mentioned, Jake and Pat are in the building tonight. If you're not already, give them a follow on X at Jake Bolenmoss, at P. Greggy, as well as on Instagram. And you kind of get some of the sights and sounds from the game. Pat, we were there last week. We saw an absolute masterpiece from Yamamoto for the Dodgers. Kevin Gausman wasn't far off. And I know we were talking earlier today when we were doing the WST Winners show about, Gausman laid down 17 in a row after getting roughed up. And then it was just 1 or 2 pitches that got a hold of. But listen, the room for error is so minimal when you're playing against a guy pitching at the level that Yamamoto is. But this is a second crack at him afterwards. And I got to tell you, I think with the momentum the Jays had coming out of the 18-inning game, it's just incredible. There's a real good chance that they could get it done tonight as an underdog. By the way, if you'd like to take the Jays just to win tonight, plus 121 to win and get the job done.
Yeah, I think that the Jays are going to have a completely different approach at the plate. We know the Jays, they've got some big bats, and Vladdy and George and Bo has the capability, Kirky, your boy, to really, knock the ball out of the park. But some of those guys also too will strike out from time to time as well. They'll get a little bit impatient. That was not surprising to see those guys strike out. What was surprising was some of the uncharacteristic swings from guys like Ernie Clement and Lucas. Like those two guys, there were times where you're like, ooh, you don't normally see those guys look so foolish at the plate. I think they're going to have a better approach. You said it, anytime you get a second look at a pitcher like this close, you're going to have a different approach. Same goes for Kevin Gausman. But like, I think at this point, and we talk about, and you hear the guys talk about, oh, we're such a close knit group. We battle for each other. We don't give up on each other. This is a time now to battle for your guy, Kevin Gausman, because time and time again, and it's not just this playoffs, it's not just this season, it's pretty much since he's arrived here in Toronto. Not only has he embraced this city with open arms and embraced this team, the one thing that has time and time again has happened was there's no run support. I don't know why this guy can ever get any run support at all. Kind of reminds me of Roy Halladay during some of those lean years with the Blue Jays. The only thing is that this is one of the best offensive teams in baseball, but when Gausman's on the bump, it's a different story. So I'm not asking for 11, 12, 10 runs from this Blue Jays team. I honestly think in a pitcher's duel, if you can get 3, 4, 2, maybe even, that might be good enough to get it done with Gausman on the bump. And we don't need him to go toe-to-toe for Yamamoto. We know that guy can go the distance with the way that and I think this has been one. I mean, there's so many great storylines with this Blue Jays group, but one of the most underrated storylines is how Bassett has just completely embraced his role as a guy coming out of the pen. He's been a stone cold killer. I think we see him tonight probably pitch 1 to 2 innings. And, I think we're going to get enough out of Gausman to get to the bullpen and see what happens.
Well, the big question is, can the Jays get to the Dodgers bullpen? Back-to-back complete games. Hasn't been done since Curt Schilling, I believe, in 2001 by Yamamoto. And they certainly do have their work cut out for them. But this is a team with such a strong sense of belief. And as Ken Wiebe referred to them earlier this week on WST, they have a cockroach mentality. You just simply cannot kill them. And you think about the way these two teams have looked since the 18-inning classic on Monday night. The Jays have been by far the better team in these last couple of games. We'll see whether they keep it going tonight or whether they have to settle it in a do-or-die best-of-7 deciding game tomorrow night at the Dome. Just quickly on the pitching before we get to the homers. Yamamoto's strikeout props, over 5.5 is -208. Over 6.5 is +101. Gausman over 4.5 -161. Over 5.5 is +126. We got Yamamoto over 1.5 earned runs at -192. That sure would be nice. And the Gausman number under 2.5 earned runs, if you like that side of it, -156. The pitching outs for Yamamoto over 18.5 is -137, which is wild, Patty, because he's had 27 pitching outs in his last 2 games.
I know.
The number for Gausman, can Gausman get through 6 innings? +159 on that. And I'm sort of with you. I think we're going to see the best of Kevin Gausman. He is going to be locked in tonight. So there's what you have it on the pitchers. But Pat, and I'll just remind people, if you've missed the show this week or not on social media very much, the most fun promo has been the home run insurance. And essentially what you can do is it basically amounts to a free bet. You bet $19.93 or more on a player home run, and if the home run doesn't hit, you get a $19.93 bonus the next day. There's been a bunch of homers. There's been a lot of happy cool bettors over this last little bit, and who knows, this could be our last time to ride with it, Patty. But all you have to do, and again, check the post. I'll be retweeting it, or I think I already have. Essentially, you make your bet, you screen cap it, you respond to the tweet with your user ID, and then Jake will go through it tomorrow morning. Any home runs that don't hit, you'll get it back. Pat, it's a no-brainer, and it's been a real fun way to hope for a long bomb for a guy that you're cheering for and make a little scratch in the Coolbet account at the same time.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We got a lot of great feedback from this. Again, it could be the last. Maybe you have another chance in Game 7. Who knows? But, make sure, again, that when you do it, give it a retweet. Reply to the tweet as well with your bet slip and your username. So Jake, tomorrow morning, hopefully feeling groggy and a little bit blurry after the potential celebrations, will give you your bet back. And if it wins, hey, you win a bet for your home run score. If it was me, if it was my approach, of course, I'm going to the game tonight. I'm going to bet Vladdy to hit a home run. It's bet free insurance. Why not think about sprinkling someone a little bit further down the board? Kirk, I think 6 to 1, somewhere in that range. Maybe it's an unlikely guy like Luke's or Clement. Maybe go a little bit further down the board and go that way. Bigger. And I just feel this guy, obviously he's a contact machine. He's a singles and a doubles moneymaker, but just in these big games, sometimes and I don't want to call him an unlikely hero because outside of Vladdy and maybe a Savage, he's maybe been their third best player this entire postseason. But he's not known for the long ball. I just think that there's going to be a moment of some guy that we're not used to seeing him knock one in the stands. I really think there's a chance, and I can't know if I should take it back. Kirky, your boy, is in that conversation. I really do feel like Huss, if he has a big game here tonight and Vladdy's ho-hum, I think that World Series MVP bet of yours is very live.
I mean, listen, he's been right there. Although, I mean, Savage, I think, is probably
you're right
to be into the conversation as well. Just before we go, here are the home run numbers. If you want to jump on this, and again, 1993, screen cap it, respond, and you'll have your insurance if it doesn't hit. Vladdy plus 379. Springer, who's expected to be back in the lineup, plus 438. Dalton Varsho plus 539. Addison Barger has actually gone up. He's plus 611 now. Alejandro Kirk plus 683. Bo plus 731. And Nathan Lucas plus 921. And Big Earn plus 1250 if you want to take a swing for the fences. Patty, I know you guys are going to be down there cranking out content, folks. Make sure to give them a follow, and hopefully you can just win this game tonight, have a big party on Saturday, and then hopefully hit some winners on Sunday in the National Football League. Of course, our Chiefs and Bills are going head to head. We will discuss the fallout of that, but it's all about the Jays right now. But if you do want our picks for the week in the National Football League, go to the YouTube channel. We did WST winners live this morning at 10 a.m. Our picks against the spread, a couple props each, a touchdown score, and all of the things that we cooked up are in the combo cards or in the exclusives with a nice boost from the fellas at Coolbet before Sunday NFL kickoff. I will wish your Blue Jays all the luck in the world. Hopefully they can use all the Bills' luck as well before we get to Sunday afternoon. And Pat, seriously, though, have a great time. Can't wait to see the post from you guys down at the ball game. And hopefully a little later on, you're having the party of your life in a circus scene in downtown Toronto after Game 6.
Well, first things first, Huss, I would trade off a Bills regular season loss for a Jays World Series so you can have it. And let's be honest, the Bills have been pretty good against Kansas City during the regular season. What has that done for the playoffs? So I maybe changing around would be fine. But hey, it's positive, Patty. Got to stay calm. Got to stay collected here. But yes, you're right. I am the Coolbet cowboy. I said it on WST winners. I'm looking to wrangle in some winners. I won't be wearing this outfit downtown Toronto at the Rogers Center. But believe you that I, the Coolbet cowboy, will be looking to wrangle in a World Series here tonight. Let's go Blue Jays.
To quote another great Western hero in the past, Russell Wilson, let's ride all the way down. You got a ride to getting down to the GO train down to the spot. Dude, have a great one. We'll hit you up later on. And again, folks, coolbet.com for the home run insurance and all that. And at Coolbet Canada is where you'll find the post. I retweeted as well. Patty, have yourself a night, pal. Say hi to Ange, Jake, and the boys. And this tonight could be the night. Appreciate it, pal.
Thanks for having me, boys. Let's go Blue Jays.
All right, Patty and Jake, those fellas are going to have a blast tonight. Just quickly on the lines update. Bombers still 6-point dogs tomorrow and plus 220. The lines are already up for the NHL tomorrow. And the Jets, wow, the Jets have gone. When this line dropped, Reem, yesterday, you recall the Jets were a minus 133 and Pittsburgh was plus 113. Again, Pittsburgh, top team in the league. Jets are minus 192.
Yeah, no. And I was going to say, no one's really buying Pittsburgh, I guess, then.
Apparently not. Pittsburgh plus 162. Now, I did cook up a little Peg City double for tomorrow. Let me just see it. I think it should. Yeah, here it is. Ride with WST. For all of you thinking we're going to have a hell of a Saturday tomorrow, Bombers to win, Jets to win. Boosted from plus 386 to plus 445. That's in the combo cards.
Here it is. Yeah.
There we are. So we figured we'd get a little boost. Can we get a double matinee win for our two teams? Well, if we do, we got a nice number there for you. Check out the WST winners this morning. It's up there from our 10 a.m. debut live. Couple parlays cooked up in the combo cards. The partner parlay, Lions minus 8.5, Bengals plus 2.5, Patriots minus 4.5. That's boosted from 611 to plus 703. And our touchdown parlay, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kamani Vidal, and Trey McBride, boosted to plus 65. And we've got a prop one under the WST tab in the exclusives. For tonight, Blue Jays plus 120 and the Dodgers minus 141. Lots of great combos and exclusives. The Super Boost is Vladdy plus 100. And again, go to the X if you want to jump on the home run insurance. Screen cap your bet, tweet it at, reply with it. And if you don't get it, you'll get the bonus for what you bet for the 1993. And if you win, you're in at a nice number. Who are you on tonight, Remo, for the homer?
Yeah, I've hit twice out of the 5 games, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I had Freeman in the 18-inning game, stayed up to watch. You should be ashamed
of yourself for
Look,
that.
The Dodgers are gonna score runs. So Blue Jays aren't gonna win every game 25-0. So I'm happy to be correct there. And I had Guerrero Jr. last game. I'm leaning Varsho. I like the lefty against the righty. Although I'm nervous about picking the Jays to score any runs against Yamamoto, who's been lights out. So
yeah,
I may land on Ohtani if I don't pick Varsho. It was number, it's not great, plus 201. So you might as well just pick Guerrero Jr. at that point.
I think I might go Springer tonight. Springer's in the lineup. By the way, that is confirmed. The Jays have just dropped their lineup. Springer DHing, Lucas, Vlad, Bo hitting cleanup, Varsho in the 5-hole, Kirk, Barger's in, Big Ernie Clement, and Jimenez, Gosman on the hill tonight. That is a 7 o'clock game. All right, we'll wrap up the marbles right now and get you ready for it. I guess, Remo, this is nice. We're just about to have our marbles theme. I think we need to go back to the GNR theme from last week that debuted, because A, was awesome, and B, our pal Tristan Rivers and Tristan Rivers Music is going to be getting spooky tonight at South Beach Casino up 59. They will be doing the GNR and AC/DC tribute bands. That place will be fun tonight. I mean, if Tristan and his crew is there rocking, it's guaranteed to be a good time. Of course, they'll have the Jays game on all the TVs. Probably a pretty fun place to do up Halloween. So if you are in and around those neck of the woods, head out and see Tristan. And speaking of Tristan, here is today's marbles theme for Halloween before the GNR tribute at South Beach tonight.
Change yourself, maybe an ice cream cake or a bottle of
my God, is that cool? Tristan Rivers music. Shout out Candace. I'm sure she was the brains behind the video presentation of it, as she's been for all the other ones that Tristan has cooked up. So yeah, you're looking for a great spot north of the city. Highway 59 towards Grand Beach, South Beach Casino tonight for the Tristan Rivers music experience, doing the GNR and AC/DC stuff. Lots going on in the chat right now. I see cops just showed up at Comet's house. Hopefully everything's okay, Comet. And hey, Remo, while you get the marble race ready and just get that list over, speaking of singing, how about this tonight, folks? Game 6, World Series, the Dome tonight. Guess who's singing the anthem? None other than our guy Soul Bear. A mainstay of Jet games over the last number of years. Soul Bear has been getting some big gigs. And, of course, he sang incredibly well at the Four Nations Cup. And I think really and listen, he is needed so badly because the last 2 Canadian anthems from those games in LA were all-time brutal, literally embarrassing to the country. One guy's changing the words. I mean, Rufus Wainwright, I don't even know what the hell he was doing. Universally panned renditions of our lovely national anthem. So bring in the heavies, a guy that is going to deliver a classic anthem tonight and get everybody going. Soul Bear tonight, so make sure you're tuned in for that and get the volume cranked before they sing the anthems. All right, what a week it's been. Lots of love for Soul Bear in the chat.
I do want to add, Huss. I do feel like proud of Soul Bear. Like Soul Bear was doing Jets, the anthem at the Jets game. He's like, hey man, this guy's pretty good. He's also got this amazing name, Soul Bear, and you feel like you were in with the band when they were playing clubs.
Yeah,
and now they're playing,
I love it.
And now they're playing stadium shows. They're going to be one of the most watched events of the year in Canada. The ratings have been out of control, averaging 7 million for the last game. I can't imagine what it's going to be tonight on Halloween. So pump for Soul Bear. And yeah, they need someone to come in and do a professional job because it's been butchered the last 2 games.
It's been so bad. And of course, last night after the game, TSN switched over. Oh no, it was on SportsCenter because the Rufus Wainwright was such a terrible anthem. They cranked out the SportsCenter top 10 of the worst anthems of all time.
Yeah.
Number 1 was the Las Vegas Posse "Oh Christmas Tree" version of "Oh Canada." But unfortunately, the World Series has had a few contenders so far. Oh, the GFL with a GFL fact. Do the daylight savings time announcement, Hustler. This is news to me. Is it time change this weekend?
Yeah, so Gregory's been informing everyone in our Discord server and in the chat today that the clocks change. They go back
into Sunday?
On Sunday. So I guess like 2 a.m. it switches to 1 a.m.
Ooh, does that mean the bars stay open for an extra hour?
Yeah. A lot of debate in our chat about daylight savings. I don't know where you stand it on or not. Doesn't bother me. I'm fine with it. Do what we got to do to make the days really long in the summer.
Yeah,
so if this is the cost, I'm going to do it. And I don't want to be one of those weird places that change the clock or that doesn't change when everyone else does. I don't want that. Let's keep it Central Time. Have a hockey game starting at 6 on weekdays, football starting at noon, and late game starting at 9 or 9:30 as we'll be experiencing with the Jets. That's what I want. As long as that's happening, I don't want it to change.
Great take as well. All right. I see, there's lots going on in the chat right now. People are talking about Soul Bear. People drunk. But anyways, thank you for the information, GFL. And listen, if there's a weekend all year where many of us could use an extra hour of sleep, I think it's this one. Because a lot of people are running on fumes, and it's Friday afternoon, and we've got Game 6 and potentially Game 7 tomorrow. Chiefs-Bills on Sunday. So this is working out. This is working out just beautifully.
David Asplund says in chat, bars do not stay open an extra hour. Well, I guess I remember being at the bar. It switches to 2, and then it goes back to 1, and then they close at 2. Isn't that what used to happen?
I think a lot of places they just want to get out of there, and there's the old adage that for the bars, and there's not many of them that do stay open until 2. They'll take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, I think I would love to have 2 last calls in one night. Last call, and then guess what? It's 1 o'clock again. We'll do it again in half an hour.
I haven't been out for a while, so I actually don't know. But I remember being out late and it being awesome.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you on that one. And tell you what, this Halloween could be even crazier if the Jays can get the job done tonight. And that's not just in Toronto.
T. Kona Pauly says, in Ticona, they stay open till 3. The bars.
Exactly. The real ones. The real ones. They're not screwing around. If you can squeeze an extra hour of the party out in Transcona, you're damn right the people of Transcona and the businesses of Transcona are going to do exactly that. All right, let's get to this marble race. I got to give a shout out to Danielle Roy, who finally won after the incredibly close and one of the more heartbreaking losses in recent marble race history. About a month and a half ago was week 2 of the NFL, so 7 weeks. But I got to see Danielle last night after the game. They were up in 316, and they were ready to go for Halloween. And of course, to Jen and all the gang with the Pride Committee, good luck for what should be a great game tomorrow for Pride Day. I mean, Sid the Kid, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Jets, top 2 teams in the league right now when you pull up the NHL standings. So good times all around heading into tomorrow. And obviously, we'll be living and dying with the Bombers tomorrow in Montreal, hoping they can find a way to get it done. All right, Remo, let's fire this race up and get this weekend officially underway.
Yeah, so I'm responding to chat. Getting chirped. Larry's chirping our hat choices here. I guess I'm not wearing. I'm wearing the Yahtzee hat. It's Halloween. I got to wear a funny hat. I'm getting a lot of compliments today on the Yahtzee. Yeah. The underbill has the board. It has this is the underbill. It has score.
That is cool.
I could probably sell a lot for this on eBay. Probably
Larry,
get a lot of
this
money.
will surprise you, but this actually is not a Sea Bears hat. This is the Coolbet Polar Bear. Coolbet has some of the coolest merch. We'll be giving a bunch of that away actually in a couple weeks on Grey Cup weekend for all you cool bettors and people that enjoy the WST winners and all of our promos. Jake, Pat, Ange coming out. We're gonna get some people together, get some drinks and food, give away some stuff. So keep tabs on the show and my socials, and I'll get you details on all that in a couple weeks. But that's 2 weeks from now. Tonight, it's all about Game 6, but first, it's all about the marble race. What, are we doing a Dylan 70 today?
Yeah, we have 200, and I can't read. I'm laughing. Some people think your hat is a state of California flag. Us.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
264 marbles. I put you in.
Thank you.
As well, in all capitals. And yeah, we'll go to the classic Dylan 70 Champions Fire Project. Just a great track.
All-time track. Definitely top 3 of all time in WST history. All right, gang. Good luck to all of you. Again, if you win, fire us an email after the fact. Let us know what hoodie size you are. I'll get in touch with you. You can come by and pick it up. We got 264 marbles. This is the Champions Fire Project. Speaking of Champions Fire Project, I think we need to start planning. You know what I want to bring back this year? Mm-hmm. The 12 days of marbles around Christmas.
It was good.
That was so awesome when we did that. We had that pair of Bomber season tickets to give away from Consolidated Supply. Shout out Winnipeg Walter, Bengals fan extraordinaire. He was the winner. All right, here we go, everybody. 264 in the hopper. Good luck to you all. It is the Champions Fire Project. It is Friday afternoon. Let's drop the marbles on Winnipeg Sports Talk. There we go. I love this course. Spency 5 Sensi with a nice start. Could this be the day? Oh, and Spency just got top roped. Yeah, Spency's gone, I believe. Could this be the day we have the first ever EST winner? By the way, Iwanik's coming out for a Grey Cup, Reem.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I met him in person. I've been texting him for years.
You know what? We should get you to take him out for dinner and just pick his brain. Most organized, lockdown dude. We could probably learn a few things from what the fellows are doing over there. What do we got here? We got Felix Petcow is right there in the mix. Schickster in first. Felix Petcow. Terry. What's Terry's last name there? Okay, Felix and David Asplund. There's a lot of eliminations right now. Mike Cochran, Winnipeg, just popped in.
Whoa. T-Bone took a shortcut. It kept saying T-Bone was in first. I've never seen this.
Oh, there he is. He's down in the... T-Bone is in the orb at the bottom. Can T-Bone do it, or is he just stuck?
He's been there for a while, actually, Huss.
He certainly has been. But he got shot seemingly out. Every now and then you end up on the track. So Wayne Gretzky and Mike Cochran, Winnipeg, are now into the orb as well. I think T-Bone is finally coming through. Will he blow it, or will he get it done? T-Bone is our winner. Wayne Gretzky and Schickster right now caught up in the orb. Who's coming out next? Looks like it's going to be Gretzky. Yeah, T-Kona is going to be rocking tonight. Like the spike, the Jays game into Halloween tomfoolery in T-Kona. I don't know if there could be a better place to be tonight than, to be honest with you. Gretzky, Schickster, Felix Petcow, Joni Thurston, Wilf's World, Lyndon Radichenko. What's up, Lyndon? The Dream. Jamie Stevenson. Nicely done. Top 10 for James. Krugs and Darth Skater. The rest of the top 10. Let's see how many people actually end up making it with the early spot. I think a lot of people are about to get burnt. Yeah, everyone just got burnt at the end. I think that prevented me from finishing. Let's see the thing. So Bone65, congratulations. Send us an email, winnipegsportstalk@gmail.com with your contact info. I'll holler at you. Next week you can come by and pick it up. Look at Schnitzy. Schnitzy with a top 12 position today. Chris Vermette, Waiters. Waiters is fired up for the game tonight. Nicely done, Waiters, 16 as he can. There's Ron P. Nicely done, Ron. Spency 5 Sensi, repping the EST crew, 20th. You just keep on rolling down here. There's Scotty. What's up, Royal Sports? Northside Sandwich. CFL 60 OG. Rick Book. Rob Pepper. Who else is in there? Rick WHL, Winnipeg. Oh, there's Hustler. Hold on a sec. Where was I there, Reem? I was 62nd. All right. Candace Jane, Mike Wynn, Wind Dog. Ding, ding. Let's go tonight, Mike. Enjoy it wherever you're watching from. And good luck. Oh, there's Bozeman. I beat you, Sean, though. Got it done. Bravo, Brian, Tony B, the last ones that finished. All caps, Kyle. Oh, everybody else that did not make it through. Excellent race today. And one other thing, speaking of Mike, good luck to the Bisons football program. They got a big playoff game tomorrow. Very talented team. Jackson Kaczynski, hell of a quarterback. I'm hoping this team can go on a bit of a run for Stan Pierre in his first year as the head coach, taking over for Coach Brian Dovey. But there is the marble race today. Remo, what a week. Like, today's show was so much fun. This entire week with the Blue Jays in the World Series. Obviously, everyone's sort of nervous about the Bomber game tomorrow. And listen, the Jets, what a win last night. 8-3 on the season. You get Sidney Crosby and the Penguins coming into town tomorrow. Hard to beat what we got going on right now.
Yeah, I've got a lot. Tomorrow's going to be a pretty busy afternoon with the Jets and the Bombers, and either a Jays celebratory wake up or countdown to Game 7. NFL Sunday, the Moose in town as well. Fairy tale game. So yeah, the great Chiefs Bills.
You gonna bring your little girl to the fairy tale game?
Yes, family function. So,
Nice.
Very excited for that.
Has she been to a game yet?
I don't think
be her first hockey game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever brought her to a game. My son's been to a number of Moose games, but I don't think I've ever brought her. So yeah, we'll have to get our certificate for the first one.
You know it. By the way, Connor is in the chat. I'm playing Connor in the Media League this week. I have to win. Connor's just cruising at 6-2. Wasn't he supposed to go 0-14 or something by the Yahoo AI, like when they ranked everyone's teams?
Possibly.
I think that was the case. He's got me by 1. He had a chain. I had D. Henry last night. Neither of them got touchdowns. So he's a slight favorite. I gotta win. I beat Hammer last week. Injuries have really, like many people that play fantasy can know, it's rocked my team. But Jaden Daniels is back. JJ McCarthy's back tomorrow. Hopefully they can make something happen. Remo, enjoy Halloween. You're going to take the kids out a little early and then settle in for the game?
Yeah, I think 5:30. We've got a crew going on our street. I'm assuming we'll go up and back. I'm estimating an hour, put the kids to bed, sit down and watch.
Eat all their candy and
World
watch Game
Series.
6.
Eat all their candy or my own leftover candy. Coffee Crisp. We didn't do a Chud's power poll of Halloween candy, but I got Coffee Crisp. I just get the Coffee Crisp Kit Kat Aero box. Smarties I'm not crazy about, but I'll eat them. What else do I like? Mars, Crunch, all good stuff. Us.
Let me know if there's anything new, like out of the ordinary given out today. Folks, wherever you're watching the game tonight and a huge day tomorrow, maybe even with a Game 7, I guess we'll find out a little later on tonight. Enjoy it. Don't forget, Connor and Liz will have full coverage of tomorrow's game on WST Sunday Live, 9 a.m. Sunday morning, and I'm sure they'll get into the Blue Jays as well, win or lose over the next couple of days. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to P. Greggy. Follow the guys at the game tonight on socials. That's going to be awesome. Hacksaw, Murat Ates, Jeff Hamilton, of course, Michael Remis. I'm Andrew Paterson. For all of us here at WST, have yourself a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the games tonight and a happy Halloween. We'll see you Monday right here on The Big Show.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.